What is up, everyone? It's been about 6 months since I've done a tier list, so it's the summer tier list time. You have the summer tier list and the winter tier list. This is the summer tier list. It's gonna be just how good characters are. Normal, very standard tier list. Let's get started with it. So, of course, as the name implies, starting bottom up, we have Ganon tier, because in my opinion, Ganon, wherever I just put him, is by far the worst character. He has worse neutral than basically every other character. The only strength he has is being strong and the fact that Major's really good with him. But every character has a really good rep, so having a good rep doesn't mean anything. This character just has a very bad disadvantage state, a subpar neutral, subpar out of shield options, although you do get, I think, Footstool Wizard Kick, but I haven't seen a Ganon do that ever, so maybe not. He's bad. Everyone knows he's bad. It's hard read the character, and if you can't get hard reads, then why are you playing Ganon? Because if you're gonna get hard reads, you can also get hard reads with Kazuya, or Joker, or insert any competent character in this game. You don't have to do it with Ganon. He's the worst character. I don't think anyone will disagree with that. But that's the end of the Ganon tier. So now we're going to go to low tier, although low key it could be low mid tier. Again, I legitimately think if you're not like bottom 2 or 3 characters, you're good at this game, like you're fine. So let us go to number 2 at the bottom, which is going to be King Dedede. I think this character is really bad. His neutral is still pretty bad because Gordo is generally bad and nothing he has is safe enough to be threatening. He's like weirdly floaty for a fast faller, and his aerials aren't like, he doesn't have a fast good enough aerial because his only fast aerial is Nair. But you want something faster than that as like your neutral tool, or sorry, either bigger or faster than that as your neutral tool. So you want like, if forward air was the speed of Nair, this character would be so much better. But you already have to be out positioning your opponent from jump with bad mobility. And yeah, you have multiple double jumps, but they're not threatening very much because your down air is bad. So it's not like you can just like double jump and then like a cloud downer or something like that. So like you have to kind of struggle to be good with, I don't know, this character sucks. I don't think anyone's going to disagree that he's bad. Bottom 2 maybe people think is crazy, but I don't think he has anything crazy enough like some other of the low tier characters have. And of course we can go into the character with crazy stuff, Little Mac. I just made a video on Peanut the other day, and this character is scary. He has an entire aspect of the game that he cannot do effectively with aerials, and he's still scarier than King Dedede. Like, he's fast on the ground, the trample, he has enough reads and stuff to make things work, and yes, he does still get he sometimes still gets edge guarded, and sometimes he's not gonna play the game, but sometimes you get F tilted at 0, and then he reads your tech chase with up tilt KO punch, and you die. That's it. You just die. So like, yeah, he's not like easy to play, but at the same time, he's hard to fight against. Unless you play one of those super bad matchups like I have, like I don't have to worry about, you know, fighting Little Mac, even though Peanut still scares me, so yeah. Level 6 from New Jersey has been innovating aerial Mac. No, that's just bad. Unless you're gonna talk about like up tilt, up air, and then 50-50 with up B or something, but then you can just air dodge away and it's fine, it's not good. The next up is a character that used to be in my bottom 3, but then Dedede got bumped on there, Dr. Mario. He's scary, and Pill is a good move because it's something you have to deal with that is much more difficult to deal with than like Gordo or something like that. He kills so easy. He has a frame 3 super killing up B. He has combos into that up B. He has down B. His kill moves are just so strong, like so strong. So that's obviously a big strength. Of course, his recovery is exploitable because he's down here. Like the only good recovery character in like, there's like 2 good recovery characters in the entire low tier, including Ganon. So Doc doesn't have a good recovery, but he's scary and neutral, and like if he gets in, he's a terrifying character, like actually terrifying. Like Little Mac is terrifying when he has KO punch, and there's a couple of things that are scary about him. Dr. Mario's scary at all percents because he has good low damage combos, decent mid damage combos, and then kill confirms out the ass. So he's scary, but he's just, you're gonna get out neutraled by 90% of the cast. Next up, I feel like is a character, I don't know, I never know how many how many transitions can I say as like a go to the next character, because I know when I edit these, I always go like, next up, and I'm just like, that's so annoying, but what am I supposed to say? Anyway, Richter Belmonts down here, which is just, you know, both Belmonts, they're the same character. Character sucks in my opinion. I think that not having, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it feels awkward for Belmont to be this low, given the, like, some of the limited tools of the other characters. But, like, something about him is so limiting, and I can't understand it, because it's not even my bias of Pikachu. right? Because, like, obviously, I know that that matchup is scary, but I'm aware that it's like, oh, yeah, but Pika, like, I hate fighting this character as most other characters I play, other than, like, my other top-tier characters. Like, I don't really like it as Steve, but, like, I love it as Mii Brawler. I love it as, like, Samus and stuff like that. Like, obviously, his recovery's bad, duh, because he's down here. I don't know if he's this bad though, but I just feels like there's like enough answers to every little thing that if you're playing well enough, you can just kind of take it slow, take your stage from him, eventually punish the dash attack or the down tilt. And that's gonna be it. Like, he struggles to get out of the corner too hard, in my opinion, for a zoner character, because his jumps aren't good, because his jumps aren't threatening to the ground, except for like max spaced forward air and back air, which you're not really worried about when you're next to him. And, like, if he's dash grabbing you every time, then, like, he's godlike GG's, you got it, right? But there's enough ways to, like, deal with him in the corner. Like, he has to put himself in the corner consistently. His entire game plan is, like, backing up and putting himself into a corner. And then he gets edge guarded for getting hit there. Jazar should be proof that Doc is better than characters up to Isabelle. Jazar is really good. So, again, a person being good doesn't mean that the character isn't bad, because Peanut also is insane and has beat so many top players. And Little Mac is still bottom 3 and bottom 2 on most lists. But everyone knows, yeah, Peanut's scary. Like, Peanut has beat, like, I think at this point, like 10 PGR players? Sorry, Lumi rank players? Like, he's beat a lot of people. Like, he beat Mr. E at Genesis, and then Mr. E, like, 3 weeks later, beat Spargo. We have Spargo's favorite character now, which is Piranha Plant up next. Piranha Plant, still bad. I need to watch Spargo's Plant more to see if he's doing something revolutionary or if he's just out-playering people and out-tempoing people. Because I feel like that's all it is he's just using the reads he has with Cloud with Piranha Plant, and Piranha Plant kills early. But, like, he has no, this character doesn't have neutral. Obviously, if you want to think of, like, plant mains, you have Lucky, who's probably the #1 plant. I can't imagine anyone else. But this character just doesn't have neutral. I legitimately don't know what you're supposed to do in neutral with this character, besides hope someone does something dumb. Is it like dash attack, short hop, nairs? Like, every aerial he has is punishable. His ground moves aren't good, except for jab. And, like, up tilt is good, obviously, like, you know, as an anti-air, but, like, it's not a neutral tool. And then Patooey, in neutral, you just wait for them to shoot it or like, if they keep blowing it, then you just grab him and do damage. So, like, I get that the character has some results, but I still think this character is bad, and I feel like everyone that loses to these people are either getting super player diffed or don't know the matchup. Which, again, matchupping experience is a thing. Shiny Mark literally asked in, like, there's a Pikachu Discord, and he's like, what are you supposed to do versus Plant? And I told him, like, 4 things about the game plan. He's like, oh, I did none of that. And I'm just like, how do you not understand how to fight Plant even a little bit? I don't get it. I don't get it. I know Sparkle beat Shiny Mark. I got it. But, like, how? I've made a video about this character recently in Japan especially, Zelda. I think Zelda is still pretty bad and has a couple of bad aspects. But again, we're getting into the characters that, like, even though they're bad, they're still good. Like, they still have a bunch of good aspects to them. Like, of course, like, I didn't actually talk about Plant's strengths, so let me actually do that really quick. But, like, Plant, of course, has, like, pretty good edge guarding. A strong advantage state, is heavy, and can edge guard people. But I don't feel like that makes up for his, like, lack of neutral existing, so I don't get it. Zelda's a character much like that, where she has not a lot of tools in certain situations, but you kind of flip them. Like, Plant's disadvantage is okay, because you can sometimes Patooey in disadvantage and, like, get people hit in that aspect. But Zelda, alternatively, has no disadvantage state, but her neutral is so difficult to deal with if you don't have a reflector to deal with Phantom. And that's most characters. So Phantom, in my opinion, like, automatically makes you, like, not bottom 5. And then she kills really early, has up B out of shield, really good, like, advantage tools, like up air and up B. Of course, it's like a one guess read type of situation for the most part. But Phantom is really annoying to deal with, and if you're wrong once, you're gonna get put off stage, and then you're gonna, like, get edge trapped by Phantom and, like, other Zelda stuff, which can be annoying. So still not good. It still lacks a lot of aspects to make her a complete character, but the parts of her character that are good are good. Like, I don't like fighting Zelda personally. It's annoying. Like, Pika wins, but it's not like a super easy win, because the character can be annoying to deal with. Yeah, she's just, like, a little lacking. So, you know, I feel like a lot of these characters aren't complete characters. They have one major aspect that's lacking, or, like, you know, even if they don't have a super bad one area, they just, like, don't have enough to make up for it. This next character is probably the first character that has a more complete kit, and that is Ike, which I think is still really bad. But again, like, we're getting into the characters that it's like, wait, really, they're bad? Like, no, they're not. Again, if I were to, like, give these characters, like, blank out of 10 scores inherently, you know, Ike is like a 6 out of 10. It's just so many characters in this game are like 7s, 9s, 10s. So Ike is definitely not great, but he has a pretty complete game plan, right? I don't think Ike's neutral is bad. It's one-dimensional, but it's not bad, because Nair is a good move. His disadvantage is actually pretty okay, because you have quick draw, and you can just go off stage and quick draw, and most characters can't really mess with that. And then his advantage state's like pretty good, right? Because he has back air and up air and dash attack, forward tilt, etc., etc. But like, he's still lacking because he only really has a couple of good things. And so they just become the priority, but then there's counterplay to every single thing in the game. So if you're only doing one or two things, that's pretty easy to counterplay it. Didn't a Japanese Zelda take a game off Leo recently? Yeah, I think it was a game 5 with Wine. Or no, it was the other Zelda. But also, Peanut should have beat Leo, so like, whatever. Last character for low tier, in my opinion, is the Croc. Listen, I know that I'm rating 2 characters that beat Shiny Mark recently down here with Piranha Plant and K-Rool, but it's okay because sometimes people lose easy matchups. K-Rool just doesn't have enough, right? He has some good things, right? Up air being invincible is really good. The edge guarding with his belly armor is very good. His projectiles are okay, but they're projectiles that can like force situations, even if the situation they're forcing is bad for you. Like bad for K-Rool in my opinion, if you're like super competent in the matchup. His disadvantage just isn't good enough because you can just like easily parry and punish his stuff on the ground, and you can edge guard him pretty easily, and like, it's just basically like, hey, are you going to bait the K-Rool to Nair and then punish the Nair out of shield? And he's like, obviously super easy combo food. He's heavy, but like he gets ledge trapped pretty hard because you can like do your aerial, he armors through it with Crown, and then you grab him for it. And yeah, that's gonna be it for the low tier. Alrighty, starting with mid-tier. So, you know, I would obviously, like, a lot of people always comment on my tier lists being like, actually, Esam, you're just like, it has to be a regular distribution where there has to be as many low-tier characters as top-tier characters. And then I say, have you looked at Smash Ultimate? Like, have you watched the game? Because clearly, every single person says that every low tier character is bad. I'm sure if you go back to the comments on the first video, which by the way, if you missed it, it'll be in the card right up here. If you missed it, like every single time I make a tier list, every single person's like, actually, Ganon's not the worst character in the game. Actually, Belmonts are high tier. Actually, so like someone has to be down there. But also then some people say like there have to be 20 bad characters when there are simply not 20 bad characters. So we're in the mid tier, and these characters are still pretty good with good reps and good results. And we're starting with 2 characters that are tied, which I don't know who is better. And I hawed about this for like 5 minutes before I did this video. So it's going to be the 2 Animal Crossing characters, Isabelle and Villager. I don't know who's better. I don't know who's better. I simply don't. I have no clue which one of these is better. They have different tools because Villager, of course, is a little bit more of a consistent keep away character because you have his side B. And then, of course, you have like, you know, a good out of shield up smash to like hit people for trying to go above you. He has RNG turnips, which are sometimes better than Isabelle, sometimes worse. Isabelle's a little bit more consistent, but has better ground moves because her up tilt is significantly better. Her up tilt is honestly one of the best up tilts in the game. I think I underrated it in my up tilt tier list. Of course, I know everyone knows she has one of the best jabs in the game, so it can confirm into a bunch of things. Like you get jab up tilt into up air, which is crazy, or jab down smash at high percents, jab up smash I think if you're close enough works as well. So like she's more consistent and has some decent kill potential, but like Villager has tree and bowling ball and down smash. So like it's hard because I feel like both characters are good, but I don't know who's better anymore. It was hard. I legitimately don't know because I've always said that Villager's better, but like Fishing Rod off stage is really good, and it can kind of do the same thing that Bowling Ball does, just less percent. Like, you know, rather it only works at higher percent, but like her down B's, like her Lloyd Rocket is more annoying than Villager's because it's something you have to deal with, or you just like have to hope you don't run into, whereas Villager's is more consistent in his game plan, but it's not as scary because if you get hit by Villager side B, assuming it's not the exploding one, you don't really care, whereas this leads to up air or side B and can kill you at 85. So I don't know. Tree is broken for sure. Does ESAM stand for Electronic Sam or Eric Sam? ESAM stands for Eric Samus. I'm definitely not putting Pikachu as the best character in the game. We all know who's the best character in the game. People get mad at me for this one, but it's definitely not a good character. Chrom is down here in my opinion. I think Chrom, it's one of those characters that's so funny because like, I feel like the transition between like, you know, Ganon and low tier, which again, you can realistically put Ganon in low tier, it's the same thing. The gap between like these characters and like the next tier to me is huge because Chrom is the character that's like, damn, he has a lot of good stuff, right? Chrom has a ton of good tools, like amazing tools. His neutral is very strong. His moves are strong. He has kill confirms. He's able to kill you, has good out of shield options with up B. The character is like pretty good. And then he just has like the bottom 4 disadvantage in the game. So it doesn't matter because he's a character that is like, he's really good until you just lose the game. And that's why there are no Chrom players anymore. It's because you simply sometimes lose. And by no Chrom players, I mean also Lancelot exists. And also there's the one from Japan, I think his name is Lax, which I haven't watched him before. But having a bad recovery means that your disadvantage everywhere is worse because you can't double jump and disadvantage and hope to just get away with it. Because if you get hit out of your double jump, you actually just die. So he's a character that just accidentally loses, and the only characters that accidentally lose are also down here, such as Mech and Ganon and like the characters with bad recoveries, essentially. So like that influences the entire way he plays because you can't double jump in neutral as Chrom, because just in case you get hit out of your double jump, you're gonna die at 7. You can't do it. So yeah, in my opinion, Chrom is down here. Speaking of dying at 7, Lucario. So Lucario isn't a character until he's really, really good. And the thing is, there are so many characters that can just kill you off of like one advantage state or one hit in this meta that I don't feel like Lucario can justifiably be higher than this. But in the matchups where you're not dying at 80, this character is broken. I mean, Aura is one of the scariest things in the game. His Aura Sphere is great. His ledge trapping is very good. I mean, Armadillo is a very, very talented player. Gachipi is also very good in Japan, so they both have good results. But like, this character is really scary sometimes. Like, again, I personally very scared of this character as Pika, because that matchup is like even or losing for Pika, because Pika can't kill early enough. But there's enough characters that get like really potent edge guards or just are so strong or have really good kill confirms that the character doesn't get to shine in enough matchups. But when he does, it's scary. I mean, -0 Nair with no aura is honestly insane. And has some very good matchups in top tier, as I mentioned. Pika, probably Sheik, probably, you know, the random characters that struggle to kill, and then he just kills you at 50. But like, he's inconsistent, and I can't put super inconsistent characters down here, or sorry, higher, because like, there's nothing, it's not like he's inconsistent, but like you can just get the reads. It's like, oh, it's inconsistent because of like a mechanic, right? So yeah, I don't like it. There's a player in the Midwest that is not originally from the Midwest that is very good with this character. There's also a couple other ones. Kirby. Kirby definitely has his flaws. Obviously, he's not very fast, can get camped out pretty easily, but this character has some of the best overall moveset in the game. His aerials are all very good, and by all of them, I mean all of them, but no, they're all pretty good. Forward air is crazy. Down air is underrated by Kirby mains. And then he has like the best set of tilts in the game, probably. Like I think overall, like if you have to combine forward tilt, up tilt, and down tilt, he has the best set in the game, because like most characters have 2 really good tilts, and Kirby has all 3 that are like absolutely insane. But the problem is you just run away from him. He has good combos, the damage output's really good, the kill potential's pretty strong. He doesn't have any kill confirms other than specifically like Dare Ride, which I still don't see a lot of Kirby's get, and then like fair 1-2 into down smash, or fair 1 into like F tilt or something like that. So he mostly is getting raw kills with dash attack and back air, and like up throw, which are still good. People like he's missing that like, oh, I just killed you at 85 or 90, besides like trip down tilt into forward smash, and that's basically it. He's high tier on paper. No, he's not, because you just run away from him. He's actually worse in paper. Like in theory, he's like down here because you simply run away from him the whole time. Has a lot of good stuff, just not a complete enough package. Like a couple of things missing to make this character like crazy. Next up is a character that I feel like is still underrated overall, but then I look and I'm like, I don't know if I can put this character higher, which is Pichu. Pichu, offensively, is terrifying. He's a scary rushdown character that does a ton of damage and has really good combos, and there are a couple of Pichus that are doing really well there's one in Japan that's doing really well, which I forget their tag at the moment, but there's like a couple of really super heavy combo Pichus that do well. Of course, you have Nader Yu in Europe, so this is probably the first character with like, oh, this has like a lot of rep. But like he loses to camping, and he loses to him damaging himself because he can't camp. Yone P, yes, exactly. That was, yeah. So like this character beat Mia, and he's mid tier because welcome to Smash Ultimate, right? He's really scary until he's not. He has a lot of really bad matchups. Some of which are prevalent in meta, some of which are not, but he's too light to be consistent. If he was even like Pika weight, he would be so much better because he would just be living that little bit longer, which would be a huge deal. But unfortunately, he hurts himself, is squishy, and even though he has really good offense, like he can do 0 to 90, and then you deal him 0 to like 45, and that's the same amount of damage because he's that light. DK. Donkey Kong is here. He's not, like, again, DK has a lot of good stuff if you really, really optimize him. But again, one of the things that happens with low tier characters, I feel like a lot of low tier characters will optimize their character before other people optimize their characters because the character simply has less. You have Ding Dong, you have down tilt tripping, you have pretty good aerials with back air and up air. Of course, you have Rarikusu beat Spargo, you have Chunky Kong top 8 Momocon and beat Light and beat so many. Chunky Kong's amazing. Like, the character has a good amount of reps. It had Hikaru before he just started to try hard Street Fighter 6, but he's still Donkey Kong where he gets edge guarded and he gets juggled forever. And yeah, he has tools to sometimes get around that, but overall they're just getting juggled by most characters and most players. And it's just like, if you mess up, you might die. But then you also can say the same thing about the top tier characters that also hit you and kill you. So DK hits you and kills you, but has the flaw, whereas a lot of the characters in the higher tiers have the same or similar strength and don't have the flaws as much. So yeah, that's the only reason why DK is down here. It's basically just worse than other characters. It's not like he's bad, if that makes sense. Remember when that one dude paid me $200 to put Doc in high tier? I'm down. We have the first of the 3 Miis here, where I've brought him a little bit down from where I put him before, which is Mii Swordfighter. I do think Mii Swordfighter is still underrated because a lot of people would put Mii Swordfighter like down here, and he's not that bad. Mii Swordfighter is pretty good. He has some good tilts, he has some good combination of special moves, but I feel like it's really hard to be consistent with this character just because sometimes you can't kill. You either, like, depending on the moveset, you either don't get the kills that you need early enough. If you use like one of the safer uppies like SSD, I forget what that stands for, or the double hit uppie, you're not killing super early. But then if you run the hero spin, you're gonna get those early kills, but you're also gonna die early because your recovery sucks. So you basically are choosing either inconsistency or consistency, but not early killing, except for like a couple of moves like getting down throw up air, someone messes up their DI, which again is feasible because his down throw is so fast, or something like a back air or some like hard read. But he has a lot of good like raw moves. And he has good game plans overall. It's obnoxious to deal with for a lot of characters. But again, it's mostly like, he's good. There's just characters that are better than him. Speaking of characters better than him, we got it. He's not the worst or the second worst sword character in the game anymore, even though I still think he is overrated by a lot of the people, which is Marth. Marth still is not great and not consistent because you accidentally don't get your tippers over and over and over again, and then your opponent lives to 180 and kills you at 50 because Marth doesn't have a great disadvantage state. But he's fine. He's a sword character, he walls you out, he plays solid neutral the whole time, and then accidentally sometimes kills you at 50, is how more so I think about it. Again, Marth haters, if you want to go into the comments and yell at me, that's fine. Just drop a subscribe while you're down there, because I get it. Like, I understand why you have the issue, because you're like, but, like, oh, on average, that chart says that the Marth means kill less early. Or sorry, earlier than Lucina players, but Lucina players know when their stuff is gonna kill, so mentally, it's so much better regardless. It doesn't matter. Like, if you have to worry that you're not gonna get that kill because the person was 3 pixels too close to you, I don't think you're worrying about so much that other characters simply don't have to. So yeah, that's my Marth section. The biggest fall from grace in the meta, or I guess the second, because one of the other characters is already up here, the second biggest fall from grace, Inkling. I think Inkling is mid-tier. Sharks, I'm gonna tell you why. Because Inkling is a character that can't kill you in a game where people touch of death you, not even by like just true combo, although that's also true, but like people can just advantage state you for a whole stock. So not getting a kill as Inkling is a huge deal, and Inkling's advantage state isn't strong enough to make up for it. She doesn't have good enough edge guarding. She doesn't have good enough like edge trapping to make up for the lack of killing. Of course, in the matchups where up throw up air works and it's like a pretty lenient window, she's good, right? Those are the good matchups for Inkling. Like Snake is the only like really meta relevant one I can think of. There are good Inkling players. You have Shida Yuki, you have Space, who I think mostly is an Aegis player now, but still plays Inkling. You have Colorado. There are very good Inkling players, but like they just can't consistently do well because Inkling can't consistently do well because you're just gonna get hit at 50 and die sometimes, whether you get hit at 50 and actually die to like nil combos, or you know, down air up smash by Pyra and Mithra or something like that, or you just get hit at 50, get put off stage, and then take 80% ledge trapping, and then you die because you rolled and then they up smashed you. That happens to Inkling a lot because she can't get those kills, which is why Inkling is down here. That's literally the only reason. Inkling otherwise has pretty good tools, right? The advantage is a little rough. If her forward air or her back air was a little stronger, she'd be insane. But they're not. So like the advantage is mid over, like especially compared to the good characters. But her neutral's good, and her like recovery's pretty good. Like has some good tools. It's just like not being able to kill is such a big deal. It's like the biggest deal in the game, other than like also dying randomly. Like that's it. Like you had like bad recoveries like really exploitable recoveries and not being able to kill are the two biggest flaws in Ultimate. I'd rather have slow movement speed, but like have a fine recovery and have a fine time killing. Like that's literally what Steve is. Steve has bad mobility. I mean, of course, for a bunch of different reasons, but like Steve has bad mobility, but can kill you and has good neutral, and then just randomly kills you and doesn't ever die off stage. So that's like one of the main reasons. What tier would Ganon be if he had an extra stock? Honestly, not good. He'd maybe be like here. If Ganon had 4 stocks to everyone's 3, he's still down here. We get to the second DLC character. So most people don't consider Plant a DLC character. Sephiroth is down here. I think this character sucks. I think he has some good stuff, and obviously Wing is really good, but I think his frame data, he has like the worst frame data in the game overall, which is really bad. Like having the worst of anything in this game is really bad, especially when there are characters that are top tiers that just run up and frame data you. There are so many characters that can do that. And yes, he has a lot of range. Yes, side B's annoying. Yes, blah, 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 blah. But like, you have to think about it. Every Sephiroth player complains about Sephiroth. Literally, every single Sephiroth player is like, dude, my character sucks. All of them. Ned, Tweak, Ken, they're all like, yeah, Sephiroth sucks. And like, maybe not to the degree that I put him, but if every single main legitimately doesn't believe in the character, or like everyone that plays the character seriously legitimately doesn't believe in the character, because like people go like, oh man, like Palutena is so bad, but like they understand that they mean that in a very specific context when it's talking about like cheese or clutching out games or randomly having like a X factor. I get that, but people will be like, yeah, Sephiroth actually sucks. The only thing about Sephiroth that's good is Wing, and that's literally it. And Wing is really good. Wing Sephiroth is up, no, not there, is up here for sure. But it doesn't always have Wing, and there are times that you're gonna die too early. There's times you're gonna get edge guarded. There's times that you're just gonna get out frame dated for an entire game, and how many back airs can you realistically hit someone with before they stop getting hit by the back air? And I'm glad he's bad, because literally, Sephiroth is the lamest DLC character. And yes, I'm not forgetting about them. I know that Min and Steve are DLC characters, and Sephiroth is the lamest one, by far. It's not close. But yeah, I think the character's mid. Next up is a character I've been talking about a lot in videos recently and playing him more, which is Ridley. Again, Ridley didn't somehow become an amazing character or a super broken character, and I still think he's probably like, again, these are like good characters. These are fine characters, right? DK does well in meta, Marth does well in meta, Inkling doesn't, but is good enough that it's fine, whatever. But like Ridley, in my opinion, is a better meta pick than people think, but at the same time, when you like super lose to characters like Game & Watch, it's a little hard to say that you can do super well when it's like a very common character, or like Samus as well is a super bad matchup. So Ridley, has some stuff. Good command grab, decent killing. Honestly, the low-key hardest thing about him is the fact that he just like, he has really inconsistent sweet spots. Not as inconsistent as Marth, but like a lot of inconsistent sweet spots. And if like his forward tilt sweet spot was just a little bit bigger, it'd be fine. Because he would just hit people all the time and kill. But he can't. So in my opinion, that's a little bit rough. DK and Ridley having relevant good matchups against top tiers is cool. Yeah, Ridley having a good matchup versus like Cloud is sick. I don't know any other ones of like the meta-relevant characters. It's like okay versus Snake. And on the train of bad characters that have good meta-relevant matchups, we have Duck Hunt. Don't believe what Big Duck Hunt fan says on twitter.com. This character doesn't have really good matchups with a bunch of top tiers, but like 2. And one of them is Diddy Kong, who is a really, like Diddy Kong and Samus are the 2 that I'm like, yeah, for sure. This character does really well versus those 2 characters, and they're very relevant. They're like, I think both of them are like top 7 in relevance for the game, which is really good. But Duck Hunt still struggles in a lot of aspects, and I feel like people are not great at the matchup and don't know where things have lag, and also aren't good at edge guarding, because Duck Hunt is really, really easily edge guardable. Off the go, Big Duck Hunt fan. Listen, she's godlike, but like saying that your character beats Aegis as a projectile character, which is like universally an archetype that Aegis beats, is crazy. Duck Hunt beats Kazuya, that's not true, and also does decent versus Snake, that's also not true. Snake just does what Duck Hunt does, but better, and then kills. Again, this is one of the things, kind of like Inkling, where Duck Hunt struggles to kill. If Duck Hunt had a kill throw, like if Duck Hunt's up throw killed 30% earlier, this character would be here. For sure, like one change, that's it, that's all you need. But like if you have to rely on side B to back air to get kills, you're not a good character. Or side B to forward smash, which for some reason works, but like, why are you getting hit by side B in those positions? Then like, sure, Like, low-key, I should pick up Duck Hunt to specifically beat Samus players. I mean, I think the character struggles a little bit too much, just overall. But good projectiles, you know, like, being knowing and neutral, like, it's really hard to know the Duck Hunt matchup, but if you know the Duck Hunt matchup, the character becomes significantly easier. And for the last character in mid-tiers, a character that's had a huge uptick in results in the past 6 months, mostly off the back of TM7 Zap, although there, of course, there are other good Bowser Jr. players, but Bowser Jr. has been doing pretty good, and I think part of that is Wi-Fi, but Zap is also beating people offline, has beat Riddles, has beat Jackal, has beat some other players, does well on Wi-Fi, and honestly, I don't think Bowser Jr. is, like, super good on Wi-Fi. Like, there's a couple things that are annoying, but, like, this character dumps out damage, dumps out killing, 2-frame kill with forward smash and stuff like that is very, very good. I just think that a couple of the aspects of a lot of players' game plans against Bowser Jr. isn't good enough, like out of shielding, mostly out of shielding, because if a Bowser Jr. side Bs through your shield, you can just out of shield them every time with a full hop aerial, and if they keep going with the side B, then you don't get punished, but if they try to do something in terms of a mix-up, you hit it, and if you full hop and do it, you literally avoid the up B that they can potentially do, so you're fine. Didn't a Bowser Jr. beat Sonics? That was probably Zap. But yeah, I don't know, I feel like Bowser Jr. has a lot of strengths, even like more strengths than basically all of these characters, but the thing is, it's also a little bit consistent because you just sometimes do 70. Like, up throw at 0 is lethal. It's a good up air. It's a good forward and back air. Good aerials. Literally, the only problem with Bowser Jr. is, like, the game plan can be a little flowcharty. And yeah. Also, I apologize, I forgot about a character, which I just saw in chat, but I literally missed them. We're gonna go over Robin. I think Robin, after watching Leaf, I'm less of a Robin hater. After watching Leaf, because Leaf schmixes people. So I don't know, maybe this character kills really easily, has pretty decent ledge trapping. Obviously, 11 aerials are all amazing. The projectiles can be really annoying to deal with, but I don't know, I feel like Leaf was just so much smoother and made this character look so much faster than other characters, which is really odd because I felt like Robin always felt really slow. And then watching Leaf, I'm like, oh, this character feels fast. And so if that's your main flaw, and as well as like losing your resources, which obviously sucks, which is why Robin will never be higher than, like, you know, the bottom of this tier, even at best. Character looked way more threatening with that character, so it's like watching Leaf, I'm like, oh, this is what Robin does. That's nice. And that's the end of mid-tier, so let us go into upper mid-tier, which is basically mid-tier, but also basically high-tier, which is going to start off with Bowser. I do think Bowser had his time in the limelight, you know, as like a really relevant high-tier character. And then as characters got better and DLC got added, more and more characters just started to beat him. Like Steve is one of his worst matchups. You also have, even Sephiroth is not a great matchup for Bowser. You have Mimu, which can be annoying, even though I think the Bowsers think that's okay. You have Kazuya, which is so bad for him. And then a lot of characters just got better or got buffed, like Bayonetta, and, you know, Falco players got better, so the matchup became really bad. Peach players got better, so the matchup is really bad. So this character just has a ton of bad matchups, but at the same time, Flame Breath is crazy. Up B out of shield is crazy. Side B is really good. This character kills you and dumps out damage, so has some good things. And then if you're not super ready for the disadvantage state, you're gonna get down B'd, you're gonna get down aired. And if you're respecting those, then they just get to land with Flame Breath, which is fine. The offstage play is mostly what happens, and of course Bowser has some egregious moves, just like forward air in general is so good for Bowser, as well as F-tilt 2-framing is really crazy. And then the armor, passive armor is always very good, so you can, you know, if a character has specific moves that they want to do in neutral, you can just either tilt or smash attack to get around them, just based on percentage, which I think is really, really cool. But yeah, I feel like the meta kind of advanced through Bowser and like past Bowser, so that is why I put him down here. Like, you still have Leon, you still have Hedo do really well. There's a couple of other Bowser players that do decent, but overall, just I feel like the character is working harder than the opponents, unless you're really scared of them, or it happens to be one of the like good matchups, like Cloud, ironically. Yeah, I don't know how Hedo beat Kurama. That matchup seems impossible. This character's been kind of on a craze recently and kind of on a tear. We got Banjo and Kazooie. Todiguchi has obviously been doing fantastically. There are a couple of other Banjo players popping up that are doing pretty good. I think Tweak was interested in Banjo again, which I might be wrong about that. But this character is just a little bit better than I thought, because the consistency and the difficulty of dealing with his neutral B is a lot higher than I thought it was. He has some like raw good kill moves, of course. He has good 2-framing, which he always has had. But the combos into kill moves really do it, like egg into like neutral B egg, like the Briegel Blaster into back air, into forward air, into Wonder Wing, really like solve a big problem with him, because he doesn't have great damage output, right? That's generally the case, which is still true. I mean, his like, you know, neutral B into neutral B over and over again into like Nair is like 22. But like then his advantage is pretty decent, and even though the moves aren't doing a lot of damage individually, they slowly build up over time in advantage state, and then the thing comes into Wonder Wing, which is crazy. So upper mid tier for Banjo. I think a lot of people now consider this character high tier actually, which I'm not that high on that train yet, but I think Banjo's better than I definitely used to think, and Torigudi's kind of been pushing this character. I would destroy Torigudi if I played him. Saying this as a player that is not currently ranked against a top like 35 player, but you know, I believe in myself, okay? This character's probably, the next two characters actually are like very much so theory picks, where like they might be better, but they're not currently, and that is, first off, Mewtwo. Mewtwo, great movement, Shadow Ball scary, some optimal combos with this character are terrifying, but they all deal with the inconsistent neutral air, and if the Nair sends to the wrong side, you no longer have your crazy broken stupid combo, but has great moves in general. Down tilt is really good, forward tilt is really good, forward air, side B, Shadow Ball, all very good. Has a pretty okay advantage state because teleport is really hard to deal with, but the problem is he's light, and then has like, he's big and light. I'm not even gonna worry about like tail hitbox, but it's mostly the fact that he's big and light, so he just dies a little bit simpler than other characters. And even though he also kills people pretty easily, he has one of the best kill throws in the game, 2 of them actually, I feel like he just doesn't overall do enough damage to make up for it, unless it's like a Shadow Ball thing. But Shadow Ball isn't as threatening as something like Samus's Charge Shot, and it's less overall annoying to deal with than a character like Samus because the disadvantage isn't as good, so it's a little bit rough to consistently stay in advantage with this character. So that's mostly it, yeah. Mewtwo can be much better, I agree. He has the advantages of a top tier, disadvantages of a mid tier, basically. Like, I think when this character works, it looks like he's up here, but then the games that he doesn't work or the matchups that are really hard for him are down here. As I said, this is gonna be another theory character where in theory they're broken, but like we just don't see it ever. Where is the character? And that is going to be Link. Link, of course, has Bomb Infinite. Bomb is annoying, Boomerang's annoying, Nair is annoying, Forwarders, like they're all very good moves, but like, I feel like it just doesn't coalesce into a kit that makes sense. He has good moves in theory, but I feel like it just doesn't overall work. Up smash is a little too slow, up B's a little too slow. He has some really good stuff, but like, I don't know, man. Like, it's crazy to me that this character doesn't have results after T quit. Like, this character's good, and I don't get why this character doesn't do well. Like, again, I'm like a Link is high tier player. Like, low-key, Link is the best Link. Like, Link is better than Young Link, Link is better than Toon Link, low-key. But then none of them ever do anything, and so I can't say it. So I don't know. Like, the character doesn't, you don't even need to do the stupid bomb infants, you just do the bomb nair and bomb fair ones, which are like doable, and then people don't get hit by them and they don't learn. I don't know if they just don't learn them, I don't know why, but it just doesn't work. No offense, but every Link player sucks. It's not even the Link player sucking, it's the fact that the character is really hard because you have to play like multiple different methods of the character, which is something that most players don't have to do. Most characters, rather, don't have to do. Like, you have your very solid game plan and maybe a secondary game plan with most characters. Link has like 4, and you have to do all of them all the time. Do you think the meta development has led to Link being worse? No! Link was always a theory good character, and then no Link has ever done anything. So like, I don't know, I think this character could be good. I wouldn't be surprised if like suddenly a Link player did super well, but he's just not there. I don't know why. Like, his Nair is broken, and like, then they don't do any, I don't know. He's a mystery, he's a mystery. Speaking of characters that are a mystery to a lot of players, but also this character does have results, we got the second Mii, Mii Gunner. Competencito is crazy. I think everyone knows that from watching him. This character is one of the best dedicated zoners in the game, has a crazy up smash out of shield, good kill potential, annoying to deal with recovery, but the problem is the close quarter combat of this character is lacking. So if you are a rushdown character, you probably beat Mii Gunner. And if you're a character with a really strong advantage state, you probably beat Mii Gunner, which is a lot of characters in this game. So like, as long as you don't get ledge trapped over and over and over again, you're probably going to beat her as most relevant characters, but she always has the tools, always has the tools. I think that suffices for the explanation. This character may be better than Palutena in people's hearts, but this character is Incineroar. A little bit worse than where I put him, I think, in my last list. Incineroar is one of those characters that it's a good tournament character because people get scared, but a lot of players, I feel like nowadays, are just not getting scared of Incineroar anymore. Maybe it's just SkyJ's been flopping, which might be true. Like, SkyJ has had some really unfortunate brackets recently. Like, he's running into like the super bad Incineroar matchups. Like, I know he had to play Kiarash at Genesis, and I'm like, Luigi Incineroar seems unplayable. Like, it seems so bad. So obviously going from the high of SkyJ last year to what SkyJ's been doing this year is obviously a huge hit, and there are no other Incineroar players that are anywhere near as competent as him. So obviously his results do worse. People think, oh, Incineroar is bad. But also, like, this character just struggles, and I feel like the overall meta is shifting to, hey, we're just gonna simply not get hit, and we're just gonna be better than you as like a player. And Incineroar, yes, has the cheese to bring it back with like side beat 55, but then you just play around the side beat 55 and like double jump, neutral air dodge to center, he hits you and it doesn't matter. So yeah, I think people are like getting better at playing risk averse against Incineroar, so he's not succeeding as much. Or the character's just out damaging him just because his combo game kind of sucks. I never understood people trying to call him high tier. I mean, again, upper mid tier, if you wanted to call these characters high tier, I wouldn't disagree with you. Like, basically, I just have like 2 more tiers than I used to in my tier list. Like, if I wasn't doing this, if I had like low, mid, high, top again, Incineroar would be high tier. Japanese players have my favorite pop-offs. Dude, I feel like they're so good. And the thing is, like, my favorite thing about Japanese players is they pop off at like round of 64. Like, top players in America only pop off when they beat like Spargo or Sonics for the most part. But like, I want to see like that really clutch, like top 32 pop off. You know what I'm saying? Gact pop-offs are unbeatable. Low-key, again, I think Gact has really good pop-offs. Akola's pop-offs clear everyone's out of the water. Akola has the best pop-offs in Smash Ultimate by so much, it's not even close. Lucas is next. I feel like this is a character, again, with like super untapped potential because like Lucas's frame data is ridiculous, Zera is broken, and I feel like the Lucases are getting better, so I feel like next tier list he might be here. Honestly, the only I feel like flaw of Lucas is I feel like he doesn't have a good move to mash in disadvantage. And then obviously he's super difficult, so if you mess up, it's very, very punishing because you're gonna like waste your double jump and then get hit off stage. But Lucas Zera is crazy. It's super broken. His forward air is crazy, his forward tilt is crazy, PK Fire is a good enough move, PK Thunder is one of the best anti-tether moves in the game. But like the character's disadvantage is a little rough. And again, when we're in this tier, it's basically like, hey, they have like really good aspects, but there's one aspect that's a little bit worse, and Lucas is basically that. Hasn't Lucas got some attack cancel off smash invulnerability now? Well, everyone, they've had that since year 1. Like people are using it now more as like an anti-mash tool, so it's like you do something and then up smash attack cancel for the like immediate out of shield option, but like you shouldn't be out of shield optioning Lucas's anyway because it's -2 and -3 on shield. One of the round characters come next. The Knights of the Round Table and Jigglypuff is definitely there. I think Jigglypuff you could argue as high tier because like the character just has so many strong tools, has like arguably the best edge guarding in the game. Annoying neutral, pound is really good, the combos are really good, the damage is really good. Base Mage as a player has been doing very well recently. They're also Senra has been doing well recently. I think there's a couple of other puffs that are like putting in some work. Sing is obviously crazy for jab lock, so like any miss tech equals death. Character has some like strong moves like Nair, back air, smash attacks obviously are all really good. And like being able to just kill people at 30 is really nice, but also you're Puff, so sometimes you die at 30. So that's a little bit of a trade. If Puff had like a frame 2 air dodge, this character would be up here for sure. Like frame 4 air dodge kills this character. And that's literally the biggest flaw of Puff is frame 4 air dodge, which I don't know why they did that. I don't understand. So the disadvantage because your double jump gets bigger and your frame 4 air dodge is so bad. Next up is the other Puff ball. We got Meta Knight. I think this is a little higher than my last list. Meta Knight just like has the tools to disengage, which I find is really important. I feel like the meta has shifted in the past 6 months to like people are just actually advantage stating people over and over and over again and killing them. Obviously, Meta Knight has the ability to do that because he has like ladder combos and good edge guarding, like also some of the best edge guarding in the game. But also he has a really good disadvantage state, or I guess a better than average disadvantage state, because I found it to still be very difficult if people knew where my down Bs were going to go, but also I think I gave people too much credit, because down B's broken, and having multiple jumps is nice because people, if they don't want to swing, you just land pretty easily, or like do like a landing Nair, which is pretty safe. Or you just down B to like a platform and it's really hard to punish that. So yeah, has some good matchups in top tier as well, but I feel like there are some matchups that are still really, really hard for him in top tier. Or like, you know, in the relevant characters that still overall just beat him and are more common than him. So that's like basically his main flaw, or like the characters that you can't ladder kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean, Meta Knight is, in my opinion, like after I played him, I'm like, oh, this character's kind of good, just like not broken, essentially. The Meta Knights are learning to murder. They've murdered the entire game. Rosalina and Luma is next. This character might be better than this. I saw Dabuz be like, oh, this character actually has some secret things, which I'm scared about because Dabuz is already annoying and doing well. But I feel like just there are a couple of matchups that it's just really hard for Rosa to keep Luma, and some of them are really popular, like Cloud, or Aegis, or Steve. So Rosa is, in my opinion, an very difficult character, and it's literally, there's one of them. I mean, there's other than Dust Dabuzz, but it's Dabuzz. This is Dabuzz, right? And I hate playing Dabuzz, so to me, this character is broken. I hate fighting Dabuzz. It's impossible to beat him. He is one of the hardest players in the entire world to beat. I would rather fight T-Pac, I don't know if that's true. He's top 2 most annoying people, so sorry, the tier list is actually this, because I can't beat these guys. But, Dabuzz is just really good, and I think like Rosa has some good matchups. I think she does well versus Sonic is what I've heard a bunch of people say, even though I don't quite understand it 100%. And then does well versus like Kazuya and a couple of other meta threats like Samus as well. And oh, sorry, I don't think it's Sonic. I think it's Game & Watch, my bad. Beats Game & Watch, not Sonic. Is like okay versus Steve, although you do get blocked on your recoveries, which kind of sucks. But like beating Samus, beating Game & Watch when those are 2 very common characters is very, very useful. Does decent versus like meta, but not like too good. But then like the other meta of like Min Min and Roy and Aegis, like that's really hard in my opinion. So I put her down here, like, and also she's just so difficult. And sometimes if you just like lose Luma and then you get hit off stage and then they kill Luma before you get back, or like, you know, you're getting ledge trapped and then you get hit and then Luma gets hit and then she's dead again. Like you can sometimes like just rotate killing Luma or like multiple times, which kind of sucks. Next up is Wii Fit Trainer. I think this character's still underrated, and seeing Xavier's clips are scary. This character does so much damage, has deep breathing, which is one of the best moves in the game because you become super buffed. There are certain, like the only problem with Wii Fit is Wii Fit doesn't actually force characters to approach because her projectiles are so slow that you just stand there anyway, and Wii Fit is bad at approaching. So when Wii Fit is losing, you just start shielding volleyballs over and over again, and she can't do anything about that. And you can just start whiff punishing her. Her stuff isn't like necessarily safe on shield. I think maybe like deep breathing back air is probably safe because it's deep breathing back air, but like that's about it. Even then it's -7. I mean, it might be better with deep breathing. So like that's not like crazy safe considering like, oh, their jab, you're getting back hit jab 1, it doesn't really matter. I don't think her planking is particularly good because again, you can just jump over the volleyball and it doesn't do anything. It just like, she has a lot of things that are like, man, I hope you're running in. And if you don't, then the character starts to crumble a little bit and has some really bad matchups, especially that are very meta relevant, mostly Game & Watch, because I'm not gonna say Pika is meta relevant because there's 2 of us. Captain Falcon incoming. Are you on drugs? Falcon is so good. Falcon is crazy good. Falcon is so much higher than where we currently are. Like so much higher. And by so much higher, I mean like, you know, double digits. We got our first fighting game character here, which is Ken. I think Ken is by far the worst of the fighting game characters. And by far, I mean like 4 spots, 5 spots, but he's the worst one. Yes, I know Jazzo just did really well at MomoCon. I still think that Ken is the worst one, because if you're gonna compare the best Ken to the best of any other fighting game character, Ken does the worst, because you have Oshimo's Ryu, and Oshimo's like a top 15 player, then you have Riddles with the other 2. Ken's still scary, right? Auto turnaround, of course, is crazy. Good aerials, good combos. The inconsistency of this character with fallouts is really unfortunate, and he doesn't have a good zoning game, so he's literally just trying to break into you with offense over and over and over again. But it's really hard to do that with so many characters that have either sword hitboxes or are faster or can just wall you out. Literally, like Steve, characters like an edgeguard Ken can give him trouble. Like there's a bunch of like little flaws that this character has, but again, we're talking about like, yeah, he's just not broken, right? Like if he was a little bit better at recovering, he'd be broken, because again, we're getting at the upper end of this tier, which again, if you wanted to call Ken high tier, I wouldn't disagree necessarily. So yeah, it's fine. Like Ken's really good, and we know that he's good. It's just this is starting to get into like the, oh, these characters are broken territory, because welcome to Smash Ultimate. If your best rep that is famous with this character says this character is bad, they must be bad. We're talking Byleth. Leo dropped Byleth, which means that confirmed Byleth is bad. This character doesn't have the speed to keep up. Has some good matchups, has some good, you know, edge guarding tools and neutral against certain characters, but I feel like overall this character is just worst Aegis. And like, kind of like Marth and Lucina, when you have a strictly better version of the same type of character, you become way worse. But like, has good moves, Up B's a crazy move in general, has good edge guarding, Nair is a good move, but like, people have gotten better at like the parry and now to shield counter play. Again, Nair is shield grabbable if you land in front, so you always want to land in back, which is a little hard because then you're always overshooting, which means that people can just backdash farther or undershoot you yourself. It just doesn't have enough mix up, and not having like, only having a like kill confirm at either like super high percents or at the ledge, in my opinion, is a little bit limiting. And because Byleth is so slow, characters get to choose the positioning in which they want to fight Byleth a lot. So that's the only reason why Byleth is lower here. Other than Zachary, sometimes Pit has done horseshit to get this far. What do you mean Zachary sometimes? Also, Zachary's my GOAT. Lay off my GOAT. Lay the fuck off my GOAT. Zachary's amazing. How dare you? How dare you say that anything Zachary does isn't good enough? It's always good enough for me. And for most players in North America that are top players. Literally, if you talk to like top players in the US, like top 20 players, like I feel like half of them are like, yeah, Zachary's my favorite. Because that's correct. Because he's the GOAT. Zachary's my fucking GOAT. I think I only have 2 characters left in this tier. Yeah, I'm almost at the top of the tier. First off is actually going to be second off, and by both of them, I mean Ice Climbers. Again, Ice Climbers, very strong character. Big D just had a really good Gommel run. This character is scary, has pretty relevant players everywhere in the meta. You have Big D in North America. Actually, I don't think Europe has a top Ice Climbers, but I'm sure there is a good one that I just can't think of. And then Japan has like 4 that are good. It's crazy to me that Big D like went to Japan, got like 257th, and then came back and like got 3rd at Gommel. That's crazy. Japan's impossible. But yeah, this character, when the matchups are good for Ice Climbers, this character is good. The matchups that are good for this character are so good, and it's so oppressive. And then they have like 8 -3s. So this is the definition of if you have a good bracket, you will simply win. And if you have a bad bracket, you will get 257th, which is literally evidence of Big D because he got double eliminated by the same Pac-Man player, Duck Hunt player, some like weird projectile character. I forget which one. But yeah, that just happens. Like, it's like, oh, this matchup just sucks. Sorry, like you had like literally if T3 Dom had a bracket of all Ice Climbers, he would win without dropping a game. He would win the bracket without dropping a game. You have to get lucky with your matchups or just simply be so much better with your character. And simply being so much better, why don't you do that with the top tier? And the last character for upper mid tier, which again, if you want to say they're high tier, I get it, especially considering the results this character has specifically in Japan, including a Spargo win. We're talking Toon Link. This character's good. I'm not gonna say this character's not good, right? I think that like Toon Link is fast, has good jumps, is floaty, so the disadvantage isn't great, which is honestly the biggest flaw of this character probably, but has consistent killing, has good out of shield options. Bomb is really good, Boomerang is really good, Forward Tilt is crazy, Dash Attack is very good, even if the follow-ups that Young Link has with Dash Attack aren't great. But I think Toon Link is like a pretty solid character. I just think like Toon Link is the definition of there are just characters better than him. And that's literally it. Like that's quite literally it. It's like, he's really good. If you look at Toon Link, you go, yeah, that character must be high tier. And then you look at the behemoth that is Ultimate's cast and you go, maybe he's upper mid tier. But again, if you want to put him in high tier, he's the top of upper mid tier. I'm not going to fight you for it that much. We're going over high tier now. Yay, good characters. And probably like half of arguable top tier. Maybe we'll do all of arguable top tier. I don't know how much we're going to do. I'm trying to see how much time it takes. So we're going to get into it. Let's get back. Of course, this is the current tier list. And again, if you missed the videos and explanations and you want to hear it, you can go to the card that is all the way above me. I would appreciate it. But let's continue. The first character of high tier is Zero Death Machine Luigi. I have finally come to my senses that this character is high tier. Even when there was a really good North American one, I didn't consider this character high tier because I was like, everyone's bad. But in 2024, people aren't as bad at the game, and yet players like Luigi are doing really good, Raru's doing really well, there's another Luigi in Japan who's doing really well that I forget, Zap also plays Luigi, which is pretty competent, so this character does well, and has 0 deaths on everyone, and has ridiculous damage output, and has one of the best down tilts in the game for no reason, has a really good Zair. The only flaw of this character is exploitable recovery, but his recovery is exploitable in a different way than a lot of other characters' exploitable recoveries, which makes it harder to exploit for certain characters, because it has good distance, but like, it's good distance, so like, yeah, if you interrupt the side B, it's really hard, but not all the characters can interrupt that, and even if you do, you still have to like kill him off of it, and if you can't kill him off of it, then you're just dealing damage, and damage doesn't matter versus Luigi because he grabs you once and kills you. But yeah, Luigi's scary, a little inconsistent, and has some really bad matchups like Sephiroth and stuff, but overall his character just has too many good strengths to, in my opinion, put him lower. For reference, when I say region, I mean like North America, Japan, Europe. I don't mean like each individual little region. Also, consider becoming a member. On YouTube, I'd appreciate it. Become a member. On Twitch, check your primes. On Twitch, check your primes. I think this one's gonna upset people. I think in this video, this is the one that people are gonna go, sorry, that's this and one more that I know people are gonna go like, what? You're insane. And to me, Sheik is down here. Listen, I have a reason. I have a reason that I put Sheik down here, because you can just randomly beat her. Yeah, Sheik, of course, crazy neutral. Needles are really good. So a lot of shield stuff is really good, but she's one of the characters, in my opinion, that like has too many options, so it's paralyzing for her. Like, she has so many tools at her disposal that it's impossible to pick correctly every time, and not even the best Sheiks do that. Like, every time you watch a super, super good Sheik showing, you're like, oh, actually, they could have done this and this and this and this, which like sometimes is good, but also she's hard to play and very light and has to be in your face, which is very, very difficult, and doesn't have like a couple of key tools, because again, sometimes she also just doesn't kill you, which again, she can kill. Like, Sheik not killing is like a myth. It's not like Inkling or anything like that, but if you don't get the several kill confirms that she has, then it becomes a little bit difficult to kill. You have to get like raw bear or raw like up air drag down into smash attack, which like just isn't consistent enough for the demon characters that are higher than this. That's literally it. Everyone else is a demon. I think she has good matchups across the board, but there's also a couple matchups that are really hard for her because they just like outswing her. And if you can just swing on Sheik, then you're fine. And yeah, you might get hit and take 40, but like you can also deal 40 to her as well. We're back to the fighting game characters, and we got Ryu. Ryu is very good. He can camp you. He does so much damage. He has kill confirms out the ass. He does damage, he has so much damage. Oshimo's crazy. Down smash is so good. His Tatsu's incredible. He's way more consistent at killing than Ken is, which is the main reason he's higher like that, and just the fact that he is faster. Sorry, not faster, that he has a better camp game. It doesn't matter that Ken is faster, is what I'm saying. More characters need to be into low tier, but they're not low tier. And also, the time I put like 10 characters in low tier or 12 characters in low tier, people got mad at me because they were like, actually, Chrom isn't low tier, Pichu's not low tier, have you seen this? And I'm just like, oh my god, shut up. So I'm doing this character, this one different, it's fine. But anyway, yeah, I think Ryu just like is so strong, and it's really hard to fight against him. There are a couple of characters that can, mostly like Steve, like the meta characters do well versus him, Steve, Game & Watch, Sonic, which in my opinion are really, really hard. Like he's beat Mia like once out of like 19 times or something like that. But it's just hard, right? But he's super solid and very hard to deal with. He just like loses some matchups, and that's basically it. Oshimo picking up Palutena for some matchups is very smart. Ooh, speaking of Palu, that's gonna be scary. The final Zelda character on this tier list is here. We got Young Link. This is another character in theory should be super broken, and then they're just not. And I don't really know why. I don't get it. He has a decent disadvantage because he has a good Nair, and it's safe, and he has like beer verses, and Arrow's crazy, and his camping is really good. And then the Young Links just lose. And I don't know if there's just like secret matchups that are bad that I don't know about, because like I know Pika's bad matchup, and I get that, but like in the non-biased way, I'm like, I feel like Young Links should be doing better across the board. Like every continent should have a better Young Link, and they just don't. And I legitimately don't understand it, and sometimes results are gonna matter. Like, I don't get it. Like, again, I'm not someone that says things like choose to lose, because I think that's invalidating of like opponents outplaying people. But like, it's crazy to me that this character just like doesn't have like that rep that does so well consistently, because he's a very consistent character. Like, he doesn't have a lot of moves that fall out. He kills you with like his smash attacks, and like forward air is really strong, and up air is really good. So it's like up B. No, up B sometimes falls out, but like not really. And like we've had Super Semi beat Leo, but like I feel like the wins and like who's the one? Kobe beat Light, but like I feel like there should just be able to do that more, and I don't get it. Like I legitimately don't get it. Young Link's probably going to be the next character I play for a week, because I simply don't get how they lose. Because Young Link is so fast, has broken projectiles, and also broken close-up moves. Like, he's literally R.O.B. Like, he's not that good, because he doesn't zero to death you, but like he's bad. He's worse R.O.B, and that's not a bad thing because R.O.B is broken. We've got the next Pokemon in this edition, and this is Greninja. I'm sorry, Europe. Europe, be mad at me. Europe, be mad at me. Boo tomatoes, boo tomatoes. But yeah, it's fine. Tarek is really good, but I just feel like Greninja's like a tool, like a character that has the tools to outplay as a player, but Greninja, I feel like, doesn't outplay characters. Like, he's a player character, but he's not just a character that forces the counterplay. And I don't know if I'm crazy for saying that, but that's just how I feel, and it's how I've always felt with Greninja. Even people are like, oh my god, Greninja's top 10, like at the very beginning of the game, with like, Greninja only loses to Pika, and like, I get it. I play Pika. I know that I play one of his worst matchups. I understand that, but I just don't see, like, and I guess I don't like fighting this character as not Pika, because I'm, you know, I hate fighting this character with like Brawler or Steve. Like, I don't like it. But I just don't understand why everyone thinks this character's broken when he has like 5 moves, and also his moves don't work. If his moves worked better, I would put him higher. But like, the amount of times I've seen the best Greninja in the world struggle with fallouts of things that are supposed to be kill confirms is pathetic. Like, it's pathetic. It's not the player's fault. The character sometimes is just pathetic. Greninja has no out of shield. Well, yeah, Footstool Dare out of shield, which I feel like players are getting better at that, so that's fine. PK high tier, we're talking about Ness now. I think Ness is crazy. I don't know what the shift is between, like, again, I think Greninja, like, in theory might be better, but, like, Ness is broken, and there are so many good Ness reps. You have Gact, you have Send, you have, Atata. I'm forgetting all the Ness players now, because I, like, was for, you have Ness Boy in NorCal, who's crazy. This character's insane. Has really good damage output, some of the best overall consistency in killing in the game. Really solid uppy for advantage state, good out of shield options, really hard to whiff punish him because he's so mobile in the air. His edge guarding, or his recovery is better than people give it credit for, and it always has been, because if you mess up and you're at 45, you simply die. Like, there are some bad positions for it, but those rarely happen. Or the Ness is using their double jump in really bad spots. Yeah, you have Syrup, who granted Syrup mostly plays Steve at this point, but, like, this character's nuts. This character's so insane. But he does have some of those matchups that are just really bad. Like, specifically Game & Watch being really bad sucks. I think Cloud is really bad as well. So having, like, two very relevant bad matchups sucks a lot. But I think he's insane. I think he does pretty well versus a good amount of characters as well in meta. Has an Absorb, which obviously helps for characters like Snake and Pika. And, like, I think does also well versus, like, Peach. So, I don't know. Yeah, Ness has an infinite, and also has, like, one of the best two-framing options in the game with his yo-yo. And, like, really solid ledge trapping, and... yeah, I don't know, man. Mars would be happy that I have her this low, in my opinion, and that we're going to be talking about Zero Suit. Zero Suit, in theory, is top 15 because she hits you once and runs away the whole time. No one does that, so I'm not going to consider that as part of it because it has to be at least somewhat relevant. It has to be somewhat proven, and we haven't proven that Runaway Zero Suit is super broken. It has a lot of good tools, is really hard to hit overall. I think her combo game could be a little bit more explored by the top Zero Suit players. I definitely feel like well, the Zero Suit players are definitely like, oh, it's not true, therefore it doesn't work, which is obviously not true because you can condition people and read people really, really hard with Zero Suit. One of the biggest things about Zero Suit is she beats two of the top 4 characters in Steve and Game & Watch. Even though I don't necessarily think Game & Watch is a winning matchup anymore, I think it's even, but definitely beats Steve. It's Steve's worst matchup in my opinion. And I feel like does decently well versus a good amount of the meta characters, but also loses to a decent amount of meta characters like Cloud and Roy and Aegis and I don't know how Sonic is. Loses to Diddy Kong. Like, has some bad matchups. Bad and good matchups, but being one of the only characters that beats Steve, in my opinion, is a plus, because it's Steve. And also beats Snake. And, like, does decent versus some other meta characters like Sora and stuff. So, yeah, I think the character, like, has up and down matchups. And again, you can just run if you really want to, but none of them do. Onan said Zero Suit is the worst matchup for Steve as well. Yeah, I know, I've said that forever. I'm like, Zero Suit is the worst if they play correctly, because it's impossible to hit her. Next up is Mars's other character, Captain Falcon. I am a Captain Falcon believer. I am a Captain Falcon glazer. I think this character's broken. He does so much damage. How can a character that does this much damage be bad? His recovery is fine. His uppy is so good. He kills so consistently. He has so many kill confirms. He has so many raw kill moves. He has a command grab. He has an armor combo starter. His IDJ combos are ridiculous. The amount of times I play Falcon and I accidentally kill people at 30 for side being them and I'm gonna do IDJ up air into knee is ridiculous. He just kills people. And I don't see how people don't see that. And even I was saying this when I was beating all the Falcon players. And then I started losing to Sean and I was like, yeah, this character's broken. I don't understand it. Like, you lose to Game & Watch and Steve, which I get sucks. But he does so much. He's one of those characters that's like, oh yeah, you in theory lose all these matchups, but just hit the person. And then he does, and it's fine. Where the Falcon players go, Fatality quit, Sean sometimes exists, Jogibu still does fine, Karaage still does fine, like those two do really well overall in Japan, and then Andric has been doing fine, he just doesn't travel all the time. Yeah, if you think Falcon's bad, just watch Karaage and Jogibu. I don't know, man, this character's crazy. Next up is the most important matchup check in the game, Pikmin and Olimar. I feel like Olimar is so important for matchup checking a couple of top tiers, most notably Samus. And I hate this character. I don't like fighting this character, but he's an important evil that needs to exist for certain characters. He just is so awkward to fight. He has such good, not such good out of shield, but he has good out of shield options. He has some of the best two framing in the game. Shutone and Dabuz both play this character to very high efficiency. You also have Candle, who's very good with this character. Europe needs to find one. One of the top European players just has to bite the bullet and pick up Olimar. Like, if Space played Olimar, he would just be the second best player in Europe. Or at least he would beat Siski every time, no matter what. But just like Olimar does decently well versus a couple of the important characters. I think does fine versus Game & Watch. I think does fine versus, obviously like does really well versus Zero Suit, does very well, incredibly well versus Samus. I think does, loses to Peach, like loses to all the sword characters. I think does fine versus Fox because you simply just kill Fox super early off stage every time. But yeah, Olimar is really good. I hate this character. It's super annoying and fun. Has to do for Snake. Oh, Olimar destroys Snake. Losing to swords is really bad in this meta. I don't feel like swords dominate them. Well, I lied. They definitely do. There's just not... I was thinking like Roy, and I was like, Roy's not like super meta relevant. I'm like, Corrin. I'm like, oh, right. Yeah, Olimar's pretty good. Next up, we have a sword character, speaking of which, that definitely beats Olimar. We have Hero. This character is just so scary, does so much damage. It's so hard to play against this character because he's not like great at approaching, but you are forced to approach him because he will just roll spells. And then if he gets the correct spells, he becomes such a scary character, has the most consistent availability to shield breaks because of Psych Up. He has one of the best applicable recoveries in the game because you constantly get Zoom. He's just so good. He's simply just so good, and it is so annoying to deal with because like sometimes he rolls the spell that he needs to kill, and like sometimes he doesn't, but then he's still fine. He has still back air, which is good, and like he has the ability to call you out and run forward, and like he's such an awkward game plan, and I feel like he just like has enough tools to shut down random characters. Like if he gets bounce, he beats all the projectile characters. If he gets Acceleratle, you can't keep him at disadvantage ever. If he gets Zoom, you can't disadvantage him ever. Like, his flaw is he has a couple of bad matchups. But at the same time, he's such a swingy character that it's one of those, like, he has bad matchups, and then you do something to someone, and it's fine. Like, all of his flaws just are made up by his spells, and if you try to hit him for rolling, then he can just jump out of it, or, like, use, like, a Kaboom that's unreactable, or Flame Slash that's unreactable, and, like, the hero players all read faster than you because they're obviously good at looking. Like, they don't have to react to them looking at the menu, they just do down B and are already looking there, so it's always gonna be faster, which is annoying. Like, he's one of the only characters that you have to look at a completely different spot on the map to fight him, which is really, really awkward and difficult, and it's a unique skill. So, yeah. Akaki Kusu doing what he did at Genesis is one of the most impressive things in Smash Ultimate history. Yeah, learning English menu to then get like 13th at the tournament is so insane. It's crazy. This character, because watching the best, some of the best play I've ever seen ever was this player at Cirque du CFL. That is Peebnut. And yes, just like I glazed Zachary earlier or complimented Zachary earlier, Peebnut is so good. His play is so well thought out, and watching the tools that Mega Man has be used for that aspect is absolutely a treat to watch. What an insanely good character, insanely just impressive, and I feel like the bad matchups that Mega Man has, the Mega Man players are starting to figure out, so he doesn't have that many super bad matchups. Like, I still think Pika wins and, like, Mario wins, but, like, beat Mia, so that's fine. I don't know how Mega Man does versus Steve. I think Mega Man does okay versus Sonic. I think Mega Man does really good versus R.O.B. So, like, plenty of the good matchups, and, like, does really well versus Snake, so a lot of the super good characters, I think Mega Man beats. Loses to a couple, I'm sure, but, like, what, like Fox and Pika? But I'd be interested to see if Peebnut just beats Light. So I don't know. I should go first Tim with Peebnut. We fought at Santa Paws and it was hard. I don't see Pit? No, it's fair. That is true. You don't see Pit yet. Probably one of the biggest demotions in terms of tier, in my opinion, just my opinion, is Lucina. I think Lucina's very good. Mr. E's been doing incredibly well. And like his results have honestly been super surprising recently. He's been playing like really, really well. Has beat Spargo recently. Just has done well. But I just feel like she's too honest for so many of the characters. Like, if you're gonna play Lucina, why not just play Corrin? Thank you, Liam, $3 for the Prime. I miss Proto, so true. But even then, like Proto was just player diffing people. So I don't know. I think Lucina just like has a lot of good stuff. Obviously, invincible up B to getting out of combos, you know, solid walling out, good edge guarding, like solid character overall. But I just feel like all the characters higher than this are like dumb. Like they're really dumb. And I definitely think that Lucina just like is really solid and you have the tools to beat people, kind of like Greninja. You have the tools to beat everyone you ever want to play, but you don't just like win because you're just winning with your character, in my opinion. So I'm not sure, like maybe this character's higher. I mean, this is the first time I've ever had her out of top tier, and I think my top tier is still pretty big. So yeah, she's just slightly out of it. I'm sorry, Ramses. I'm sorry, Ramses. This is my first time having Shulk outside of top tier. Listen, I get that this character is broken, in theory. No one does well with this character, and there has to be some reason why. And if everyone's bad, fine. You can yell at me that everyone's bad. But I just feel like he's so good. Again, I have Esam Cheat as an emote, which is literally Shulk, right? Like, he has Monauto cancels and all these different random things. He has like one of the most oppressive, inconsistent, like good options in the game, which is like Smash Art forward air. And like, he has great edge guarding and so many good things, but like his disadvantage just is surprisingly bad. His disadvantage is surprisingly bad. Because like he only has a double jump, he has jump art, but then like you get hit for doing jump art, you take extra damage, you die earlier. Every single art comes with a negative, and I feel like the negative is a really big deal, even though of course like not being able to rapid jab Shulk is really, really good. I mean, it's a character with the second worst frame data in terms of activity in the game. It's pretty safe, but like you can just kind of hit people for going for laggy moves, so I don't know. Something's missing with him. I don't know what it is. I can't describe it to you, but just the vibe is not there. Speaking of the vibe being there, high tier Pokemon trainer. I think this character obviously has had good results, intermittent with the game. You have Quid, who's very good. You have Autorie, who's very good. I don't think there's a Pokemon trainer in Europe that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm probably wrong about that. There's several other Pokemon trainers that are good, but just like, this character sometimes dies in disadvantage a little bit too much, and in a game where people just die in disadvantage, or like they can just kill you. I was talking about this in the lesson yesterday. If Ivysaur had a move that killed horizontally, like if Ivysaur's forward air sent just a little bit lower, this character would be so much better. Yeah, Noi from Japan as well. Yeah. So like, this character has results. It's one of the probably like, in terms of results, probably one of the best characters for how low I put him. I guess Ryu and Luigi are here. But I just feel like Pokemon Trainer, just like something's missing. And I think that's just like Ivysaur's advantage state. Like if you just like avoid the up, you just kind of go away. So I don't know. Something's off about that. And it's my first time putting PT out of top tier. I just feel like the meta has shifted away from like, I'm just gonna slowly play neutral. Cause like Ivy, or like they don't get enough off of their random neutral hits. And if they are, they're like really committing. And then again, their advantage stage just like doesn't kill except for Charizard, so Charizard's broken. Yeah, that's my take on Pokemon Trainer. The last two characters in high tier, first off, is Falco. Falco is one of the dumbest cutscene people in the game. He hits you once with like 5 different combo starters and you take 70, because he hits you with down air or up tilt, or grab or up tilt, or forward air or up tilt. So that's really dumb. Back air also can hit as well, but I just feel like Falco has been slept on because people are like, yeah, just don't get hit by up tilt. But like, he has so many other tools. His downer being as ridiculous as it is really good. Motsunabe is doing really good. Tilde's really good. I'm sure there are other Falcos, but those are the first two that I think of. I think Daddy Kusu also has a secondary Falco, who's the DK player that beats Spargo. So the character has reps, the character does damage, the character has kill confirms. Like sometimes the character struggles to kill, but also Falco's up smash is so good and like so underrated by most people. And then he has back air, which is crazy. He has down air, which instead of tech chases if it's the weak hit, or just straight up combos into kill moves. He has really good edge guarding, so he has ways to end stocks early. He has the best recovery of the Spaceys by far, in my opinion. I forgot Masa. Yeah, character just has so much. You just ban FD and every other stage is good for Falco. So like, yeah, does he have sometimes struggle matchups like with Pika specifically? Yeah. Does he probably lose to Game & Watch as well? Yeah, but then you also up tilt Game & Watch for going for Nair at 50, or sorry, at 75 and you die. He also has footstool up, you out of shield, which the best Falcons in my opinion don't really go for, and that shit does 40%. Sorry, 39. But like, what? That's crazy. And the last character in high tier, just below top tier, Zakray's my GOAT. Zakray's my fucking GOAT. Pit. Pit has so much. Pit has the ability to kill because he has good neutral tools. He has the ability to edge guard. He has a very good disadvantage state because of down B and just multiple jumps and very, very strong, just like good landing aerials. He has a really good neutral because he has an amazing dash attack, amazing back air. He has the ability to double jump. He has a good grab game. He has good everything. And this character doesn't have a flaw other than the fact that he's not super broken like all the characters above him. That's literally it. Does this list include Dark Pit? Dark Pit and Pit are the same for all intents and purposes. They're just better depending on the matchup, but it's the same thing. You have the ability to shoot people with arrows off stage, which is like really disruptive off stage. He has like literally top 10 or 7 edge guarding in the game. He's incredibly well-rounded and is just so strong. Thank you, Splash, for the 35 months. At least she's above Swordfighter. Yes, above Swordfighter, baby. Yeah, I think Pit's insane. Like, just so strong. I don't even know what matchups he does really poorly in. Like, he has losing matchups, sure, but I can't think of a -2, because I'm thinking of the characters and I'm just like, okay, well, he edge guards Aegis, he reflects Samus's charge shot, he beat, like, Zachary had a game 5 last hit scenario with with Sonics, and that was a scuffed set because after game 1, which Zachary won, I think, they had to wait like 30 minutes to get audio. He does decent versus Steve, does decent versus Game & Watch, in my opinion. Like, Pika wins, but it's barely. So like, what area is Pit lacking in? Who's the worst matchup? And like, you have Nair auto cancel, so your neutral's crazy. I'm blinded by Zachary. Zachary's my fucking GOAT. But also like, Pit's always been good. When DeBuzz was playing Pit after Pit got buffed, I was like, damn, this character's nuts. And then he just like has some of the best parry stuff in the business because he has the tied for the fastest forward smash. His down smash is crazy. His up smash is insane. He has so many kill confirms with down air and up smash, like down air, up smash, down air, back air, down tilt into up air, down tilt into back air. He has good throw game. Like his character's really, really good in my opinion. Like, he doesn't get cheesed, but he's still able to cheese with edge guards, so I don't know, really good. And that's it for high tier. Yeah, let's get a couple into top tier. So we'll do probably like, I'll go to top 20 or so. So I'll stop there. And first off, we are going to go to the lowest character in top tier, which is Terry Bogard. Terry's nuts. He does so much damage. His disadvantage is super good if you're not off stage because he has auto cancel power dunk and not many characters can mess with that. His combo games are ridiculous. He does so much damage. He's one of the best comeback characters in the game. He's also one of the best win more characters in this game because of Go. He has like an invincible attack with spot dodge, up tilt. Yeah, Terry's crazy. He has a good grab game. He has auto turnaround, which obviously is amazing. He has just consistent damage, but he has like good damage a lot of times, which is kind of nuts because like he has like jab power dunk, obviously, but then he has like things with like landing nair into down air and stuff like that, or landing up air into down air, and like all of his stuff is super safe. And he has like ladder combos, which are crazy with just like, you know, just landing up air and stuff. So this character's nuts in my opinion. He just has a couple of bad matchups. Like Steve is really bad and Sonic's not really bad, but Steve and Game & Watch in my opinion are pretty bad. And like Samus is probably bad as well, but like is fine against most characters because then you just like, oh, even if it's a bad matchup, are you okay? And it's like, no, you're not, you died. So yeah, character's nuts. Wolf is up next. I think Wolf is a character that has all the tools to win every single matchup in the game. They don't have a lot of cheese. They're just a character that straight up outplays you. Do they have the tools to outplay you consistently all of the time? Yeah, but so do a lot of the characters above. And again, this is like top tier. These are all broken characters. So like if you're like, actually, if you want to, like top tier, I limit it to 10 characters, but realistically, this is also top tier. If you were to say, no, I think Wolf is top 10, I'd be like, yeah, sure, okay. Like, no, okay. Sure. So you have just like great air mobility, frame 2 air dodge, pretty good defense, like recovery that's like better than people give it credit for, just strong aerials, good combo game, or reflector so you don't have a weakness to projectile characters. Character's just good. Character's just good. So solid. Wario is also a character that's so solid. Ironically, I think Wario has worse matchups than Wolf does. Because there are some matchups that just seem so bad for Wario, like Ness, Steve, Sonic, Game & Watch all seem so bad, but how bad can it really be when you have Waft? So like Wario is the character, like one of the characters that's like, I have bad matchups, but it doesn't matter because you can just kill them. Also, he has like Bike, which is one of the most absurd tools in the game. He has a command grab and bite. He has a really good short hop. He has obviously a crazy broken air mobility, so his disadvantage is super hard to deal with because he can just air dodge and drift the other way on a dime. He just swoops, and it's really, really hard to deal with. It has to be a hard read because you're not reacting to that stuff. So yeah, I think Wario's just good. He's just good. He's good without Waft, but he's broken with Waft. Like the amount of times like Gluto just beats people without Waft anyway, or like Waft's the final stock and it doesn't need to. It's just insane. He's so good. And like, it's crazy to me that more people don't play Wario. Because you have what? Gluto, and then the next best one that I think of is Jordan. And Jordan's good. Right, like top 8 low tier or low tide, whatever tournament recently. Like I'm assuming there's another one I'm just forgetting. Oh, Loaf. I forgot Loaf. Loaf is probably the second best one. But like I'm surprised that there aren't more Wario players because I think this character is nuts. Like he's hard against some characters, and like picking up a character that doesn't do well versus Steve and Game & Watch and Sonic, which are literally like the meta right now, is really scary because you definitely lose to all of those. But I think other than those 3, every single matchup is like super playable. This character's a little bit higher than my last tier list, but still is not as high as some other people's tier list, which is Min Min. I still don't get, like, I get it. Like, listen, I put Min Min higher this time than normal anyway because I watched Dora Migi and his edge guards are crazy. But like, Min Min loses too many matchups and is too scary. She is one of the highest characters of like, oh, you just randomly die, which she actually does. She actually sometimes just dies. And it's really hard. Granted, she also just accidentally kills people because like you got a hit and then like ram 2 frame, ram 2 frame, oh, they're dead. Her disadvantage is just really hard, and I feel like people don't appreciate how difficult it is. Because her neutral is insane, which it is, right? Like dash attack's crazy, down tilt's crazy, her arms, the threat of dash grab, like so many combos, so much good stuff with this character. Like not trying to downplay this character, but I just feel like her bad things are very present and people just don't see it as much. Like I think people are like, Min Min's top 5, and I'm just like, you've never played Min Min before. Like Min Min beats Steve probably, even though I think it's even, and like does well, actually loses to Game & Watch, loses to Sonic, but then like loses really hard to like Sheik and really hard to like Puff, even though Doramigi beat Base Mage somehow, but like, I don't know. Yeah, Mimin's a good character. You know who else is a good character? Mario. This character is still low-key top 10, it's just he's a little too stubby. And if you don't get the really early ladder kills, this character can sometimes struggle to kill because he doesn't have a lot of kill confirms. He's just like, I'm gonna kill you with up smash or edge trapping, which like a lot of other characters can do. So, I don't know. Mario is just like insane, of course, like Kurama's combos are crazy. The neutral of this character is really good. He has such good frame data, but like you have to consistently get in, and I feel like enough characters in top tier are able to keep him out because they're like sword characters and they have like better advantage states than him, and he's like not a fast faller, so his disadvantage against those characters can be pretty difficult. Like characters that have really repetitive advantage states, and that's kind of where he struggles, but also he kills people at 30. So, I don't know. I don't know. We got 2 more characters before the top 20, so the first one of these is gonna be Kazuya. I think Kazuya is overrated. Overall, if you're considering Box Kazuya, this is a lie, but there's only one of those right now, so I'm ignoring it. Like one really good one, which is, I just lost him in a tournament. Insane. Like, Box Kazuya is so stupid, but considering where Kazuya is currently in meta, this character's good. Like, this character's very good. Has 0 to death, does so much damage, just so crazy. Kazuya's broken, right? But he struggles in neutral, and a lot of his neutral wins are legitimately reads, or people not knowing how to whiff punish him properly. But the benefit of like him being super heavy is really nice because you get rage drive, and also like you get to just like live for so long, and a lot of characters don't kill him off stage, they just deal damage to him, which is fine. Like he does so much damage, right? But I feel like a lot of the meta characters have a frame 2 air dodge, so you still get out of the combos a little bit because you don't get specific versions of the combo, which are like the most universal ones, so it's a little bit harder. And like, he's not super mobile. And he has a bad jump squat, so like, I don't know, he struggles with like consistent out of shield options, so I don't know. No, it was like it was like Sergeant Hamilton or something. What was their tag? You learn Electric Wind Girlfriend? EWGF! Electric Wind Girlfriend. That's funny. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I just think Kazuya is like a little bit too dependent on being correct. And like, yeah, you can be correct with a lot of characters and like he kills you for it. But like his disadvantage is like pretty mediocre relative to a lot of the other top tier characters, and he's a little stubby. So I don't know. This character is just pretty good, but I don't think he's super broken like other people think. And again, maybe that's because Pika beats Kazuya, but like my secondary doesn't do well, but I like fighting it. So I don't know. I think this character is a little bit worse than people think, as do I think of this next character, Diddy Kong, which Diddy Kong, hey, I put him higher than usual. Normally Diddy Kong's at the top of my high tier, so around like 30-ish. But Diddy to me is right outside of the top 20 because this is the cutoff for the next video. And Diddy Kong, like the thing I've noticed about Diddy Kong is like the reason I underrated Diddy Kong is because Diddy Kong is really bad versus my specific way of playing. And not that the fact that I play Pikachu, but I don't play reactive very often. Like I react to specific things, but I'm mostly like putting myself into a position that's good to react and then I punish, right? But I feel like against generally reactive play, Diddy is so good because doing something like jump banana toss covers so much and it puts people in really uncomfortable positions. And if you're staying grounded against Diddy Kong, that can be a little annoying. It's still correct to do that in a lot of matchups and then just like react to monkey flip, but like you just let Diddy control the tempo. And of course he has some decent matchups in relevant characters. Actually, I'm looking at my top like 6 and he definitely loses to all of them except maybe one of them. But like having Z-drop out of shield is really nice. Having a pretty good recovery is nice. It's exploitable, but you can go under the stage. Banana being transcendent is really good. And again, I had him at like 30 before, so this is definitely like a bump for him. I just don't think he's like crazy super broken like a lot of other people do. He loses a couple too many matchups, like losing to Game & Watch and Steve the way he does when those two are like very meta defining is really rough. And I just feel like he still has some really good matchups in meta, but I don't think his game plan is simple enough to beat a lot of those characters. Like beat a lot of characters, you need to have a very complex game plan with Diddy Kong, because like Banana Shield isn't good enough nowadays. And yeah, that's going to be the cutoff for the top 20 characters. Top 20, here we go. Arguable top tier is still the tier we're working with, and again, this is the full tier list so far. If you have any questions, you can just refer to the video up above. That's in the card there, so go check that out if you are not caught up to date. But let's let us continue with the top 20, starting with Sora. Sora's one of those characters that in theory is top 10, but this character is still nuts. The damage output this character has is ridiculous. The zoning this character has is really annoying. He's really good at walling people out just with sword moves. His projectiles are really good. His recovery is good, so he can go off stage really easily. He has a really good edge guarding potential overall. His killing is really good. And then of course, like, you know, 0 to deaths over and over and over and over and over again. And people don't really hit them super frequently, but they're still broken. I think Sora has pretty good matchups with most of the relevant characters as well. I think Sonic is a little rough, and I think Fox is a little rough, but I think Sora does fine versus all the other characters, does like pretty well versus Steve, does pretty well versus Game & Watch, does well versus like R.O.B and stuff like that. I think does well, you know, people say Samus, but then like you have counter on charge shots, so I don't really see how it can be that bad, but just like does so much damage, and the fact that you can footstool out a shield to get the loops is nuts. Like that's so dumb. This character is just insane, honestly. I feel like just definitely underrated overall, because people are like, well, like Kamame is really good, which like true, Kamame is really good, and there's not really other super top Soras. I know that there's Rarakior, thank you. Yeah, Rarakior is really good. I feel like a lot of the NA players that were playing Sora simply dropped him for some reason, or just like don't go to tournaments. But Rarakior and Kamame are definitely both crazy. You know, I feel like a lot of players like on Elite Smash are pretty lame with this character, so it probably gives him a bad rap, but I like watching top level Sora. It's definitely super fun for me. Character's just nuts in my opinion. Speaking of character who's nuts, I know that this character is like super like top 7 or so in Japan. Yoshi, kind of a crazy character, right? Has some of the best disadvantage state in the game because you have one of the best air mobilities in the game. I think it might be the highest. It's either him or Puff. So super great air mobility, has frame 1 armor with his double jump, has crazy damage output and combos. He has really good out of shield option with Nair and up air, has good smash attacks for out of shield, has combos into said smash attacks with back air mostly. You also get jab block forward smashes and stuff. This character kills super easily, does a lot of damage just in general. Downer is a crazy move. Egg is crazy for like edge guarding and edge trapping, and this character just is so solid. The mobility of this character is nuts. The tech chasing with this character is nuts. Like watching Yoshidora and Ron, and like on a different kind of note, like Pharaoh, is just so impressive. Like this character is so good. And I've always thought Yoshi was good, and I was one of the people that always thought Yoshi was super, super good, and he never got buffed. People just got better with the character. Like delay Nair combos, like, are so nuts. Like back air into wait, Nair forward tilt into up air. Like he does so much damage for no reason. For no reason. But yeah, Yoshi's nuts. What an insane character. Next up, probably still an underrating for a lot of people, but definitely a bump from my last tier list, is Bayonetta. I be watching the Bayonettas. They're nuts. I know Mutes thinks she's top 10. What a nuts character. She does so much damage. Even if she doesn't kill you with correct SDI, she just does so much damage. Up tilt back air working for like 100% for some reason. Like it works and it starts killing at like 90 and then works until like 170. I don't know why that's the case. She has so many kill confirms. She's good on basically every legal stage because you can just ban FD. She can run away. She's like really hard to interact with because she has good up B out of shield. She has footstool dive kick out of shield. She has footstool downer out of shield, which can all be annoying. I don't know if footstool downer works for like kills because I think it might like cross up. But like, man, this character's good. And the fact that she can just land every time is so good. Like, she has some rough matchups, I know. Like, I know Sonic is pretty rough. I know Mii Brawler is pretty rough. I know Fox is pretty rough because, like, fast fallers is really hard to get there. But I don't know, man. The more I watch Bayo, I'm just like, huh, you really just don't have to interact. Or you deal 90 bajillion damage. Like, watching Tama P get some random-ass kills, I'm just like, oh, they're just like, the Bayos just kill now. Tama P, Lima, and of course you have Bloom Forever, like all of them are doing well, so there's a top Bayo in every single region, and like it just looks like she just beats so many meta characters, like so many for no reason. Like if you don't play a short character, I don't know how to avoid her. She has like ridiculous edge guarding too, so she like not only just has like her combos off stage, but like her edge guarding is just ridiculous. I should play Bayo. I don't know why I don't play Bayo. I feel like Bayo, the only matchup I don't like win. I don't even know what the Bayos think of Game & Watch, but like I should just play Bayo. I don't know why I don't play Bayo. There's also Geist too. Oh yeah, Geist did super well recently, yeah. Character is really, really good. I definitely think I've underrated her overall. Speaking of a character that a lot of people think I underrate, but that's because I understand him at such a high level, even though I've lost to a couple. Snake, he's not top 10. He's not top 10. He loses like so many matchups, and yeah, you can just win anyway. But like he actually loses so many matchups, and it's not like it's like, oh, you got a combo and you killed people at 0. You have to outplay so hard when you play Snake, or like hope people get impatient. Yes, Hurt is ridiculous. I get that. Yes, there are other good Snake players as well, of course, like MVD, and you have Kronos, and you have AK. Like there are plenty of good Snake players. But like, he's not that. He loses so many matchups. So many matchups. And the matchups he doesn't win he doesn't lose are all even. There is like 5 characters that Snake plus 3s, maybe like 7 plus 2s, and then he's even or like barely beats people. I think Snake loses so many matchups, and he has so many even matchups, which means that people can just hit him. He's crazy, of course, like really good, you know, super good killing because he has up tilt, he has Nikita, he has grenades, which are very good. Up smash ledge trapping, which I think the ledge trapping is a little fake. C4 is crazy move. You know, so many beer shenanigans, so it is hard to catch him if you are unaware of what the players want to do. What does Jesse think? Not top 10. I think maybe I'm a little low for what MBD thinks. I don't think he would put Snake at 17th, but I think he puts Snake at like 15 or so, maybe 13. Doesn't think he's top 10. I know Mutace, and I don't know what Shattuck. Mutace thinks top 10, and I don't know what Shattuck thinks in terms of my teammates, but I just think that Snake, like, when you see Snake players winning, they are actually, most of the time, player diffing. Which, granted, you are able to gain a lot of information from these players from the situations where, like, grenades and, oh, they're double jumping out of the corner consistently. But, like, I feel like one of the big things that Snake players get is they get people's panic. But, like, if you are comfortable with the matchup, you shouldn't be panicking. You should just be jumping backwards. I don't know. Jump backwards is really, really hard for Snake to deal with. And he's not mobile enough to really deal with it, in my opinion. So, I don't know. Snake Game Watch is the fakest losing matchup ever. Incorrect. That matchup sucks ass. That matchup is so bad. I understand Snake at a better level than almost every player in the world. Trust me. We have another character that generally dropped off. It's Joker. I was having a lot of trouble figuring out my top characters in this game. Like this tier list, this top area was so hard for me, but I think Joker's down here. I just think Joker loses to a couple characters in meta that are really rough for him. And I feel like he's really good, right? His movement's crazy. He still has like overall good matchups, but I just don't feel like Joker has as much as he used to, because I just think people got better at dealing with Arsene, which means that he's not getting those like really early kills, he's not getting those cheap kills, and there are still some like checkmate positions with Joker because of his counter especially, and like Leo still plays Joker, right? Like Leo's Joker's still beautiful to watch, but there are so many good characters in this game that it's not like, yeah, Leo, like, you know, it used to be like, well, Leo's winning everything, so you kind of have to put him super high, or you're like delusional, but then like, not only did Leo start doing worse and like played other characters, but also I just feel like overall people got better against Joker because the general defensive play of players, like not like camping, but like the defensive play of characters and not interacting with things that are really, really scary has gotten significantly better. So he just doesn't get those Arsene stocks anymore. He simply just doesn't get the Arsene stocks. And if you're not getting those, then you know, that's a huge deal, in my opinion. Speaking of characters I used to think were top 10, but I don't have them in top 10 anymore, Roy. I think people got really good at dealing with Roy's DI stuff, or like, you know, preemptive DI has gotten so good that I feel like Roy just doesn't get quite as much as he used to. People DIing away from jab back airs at higher percents, people DIing up on down tilts. He's not getting as many tech chases anymore. He still does crazy damage, still super safe, super strong. Side B's crazy. Like, Cola getting jab side B now is like terrifying, but I just feel like, again, he does worse versus more characters because of DLC and because of character developments. I feel like he got out-crept by a couple of sword characters as well, so it's not even he's like the master sword character, even though like I used to think he was better than Aegis, and then I watched Shuton's Aegis, so I'm like, shit, never mind, my bad. Broken, like still an obscenely good character, just has a couple of matchups that are like, oh, that's kind of rough, so yeah. Another character that I used to put in top 10 that I don't anymore is Pac-Man. I personally hate fighting this character. You know how much I used to hate Ness? Or what people think I hate Ness? I hate Pac-Man twice as much as that. God, I hate him. He's so good. Hydrant is crazy. The fact that he can just get whatever item he wants all the time is crazy. The fact that he gets to kill people at 70 because his forward smash is really good. He has a really good recovery. He has super strong neutral. Like, he gets power kept by some characters, right? Like, Steve for sure beats him, and like Fox for sure beats him, but there's like, I hate this character. I don't understand how to beat him, but everyone puts his character lower, so fuck it. It's probably me. I'm probably missing something, and that's fine, and I'll just believe everyone else. He loses to Cloud. Thank God Cloud's good. That's my entire synopsis. I hate this character. He's good. He has some rough matchups, but like, that's about it. Next up also was in my top 10 that is not in my top 10 currently, Palutena. Palutena is really strong and good and like probably still top 10, but I just think, again, similar to Wolf, she has the tools to outplay, and she has some ridiculous tools to outplay, right? Invincible dash attack, invincible back air, warp and disadvantage is super good. Up air is really good, Nair is really good. Like, she has so many good tools, but the fact that she like still doesn't really have a couple of moves like forward tilt, like forward tilt's good in very specific circumstances, up tilt's good in very specific circumstances, down tilt is worse than people think it is because you can just DI away from it, which a lot of people are getting better at doing. I don't know, this character just doesn't have the bullshit of top the characters above her, basically. That's literally it. Like, she just doesn't have, like, oh, that's so stupid. Like, she's just so incredibly solid. But her solid doesn't auto-frame trap like some other characters above. Like, she can't force you to air dodge and then punish the air dodge. She, like, baits the air dodge and then punishes the air dodge. But she doesn't, like, force people and then punish them for doing the same option like some other characters above. Speaking of characters that punish people for doing things, Mii Brawler. You want to talk about cheese and about bullshit? This is the character of bullshit. There are so many hits that lead to kills. Up B out of shield, down throw thropper. You can run heli kick. You can run the other movesets, which are sometimes good. I'm talking about like specifically 1-2-3-2, and I think that just being able to play burn and drop kick, as well as suplex, as well as heli kick, as well as thropper, this character is just absurd. Like, this character is just nuts. You have so many different kill options. You have so much cheese. You have so many matchups that you actually just kill people at like 10 or 20 or 40 or 50. Like, this character has so many kill confirms from so many different spots that like any hit literally leads to a kill. The only flaw of this character of why he's not like absurdly super broken is because he's not very fast on the ground. If he was slightly faster on the ground, he'd be top 5. But like, he's just so broken. And he has like, one of the actual main reasons I put him down here is his worst matchups, in my opinion, are all pretty popular. I think Sonic is a rough matchup for him, and I think Aegis is a rough matchup for him. But also, Kid beat Leo's Aegis, and I believe he could beat most Aegises in the world because this character's just nuts. And like, those matchups are like playable. Like, I don't think Cloud's bad. Like, it's losing, but it's not bad. I think Shulk is even, which all the Brawler players hate, but also there's 0.3 Shulks. Shot put's really good. Flashing Mach Punch is really good. Like, his normals are insane. He has the best nair in the game, in my opinion, or second best nair in the game, maybe to Game & Watches. And like, it leads to up air combos, which just he does so much damage. His ledge trapping is incredible. His dash attack is incredible. His burst range is incredible. He has a command grab or a move that goes halfway across the screen as a whiff punish when you're jumping backwards. In my opinion, he beats most of the sword characters because he just out advantage states them. The only ones that he loses to are the ones that have landing aerials that are really, really good, like Cloud and Aegis specifically, but I think he beats every other sword character, or it's even at the very least. I like low-key think Roy and Chrom are even now, even though I used to think they were bad. Like, this character's just stupid. Like, he's just dumb. He's just so good. Like, I stopped playing him as much because I've been playing other games, and I was like, I want to put some time into Steve. But like, so stupid. And just outside of top 10 is Cloud. I think it's hard to deny that Cloud is a really good character. He has obviously super good buttons. He has good out of shield options. He has really good kill options in general. His recovery is a little bit, or not a little bit, it's quite a bit better than people give it credit for. Of course, you can also get limit, which makes the recovery really good. He has limit kill options. He has some of the best and most threatening ledge trapping in the game. You have back air. What more do I need to say? Yeah, Cloud is just ridiculous, and Spargle obviously shows that to great extent, but he does have a little bit of a flaw, which is his recovery. But like, why does Cross Slash do so much damage? Like, non-limit Cross Slash does so much damage. I don't get it. Like, I think people DIing out of his up B is like one of the main reasons I'm not putting him in top 10, which is my top tier, because just like, having a slightly worse out of shield option is really, really bad because people can also punish that, especially if they're a fast faller. Like, if a Fox SDI's out, or like DI's out of Cloud up, he gets an air up smash for it, which kind of sucks. I don't like fighting this character personally. I just hope I edgeguard him, and if I don't edgeguard him, I'm gonna cry. But yeah, that is Cloud right outside of top 10. So now we're going to get into the top 10, which, by the way, if you comment down below and guess the top 10 correctly, I will subscribe to you on YouTube. Except I have no way of knowing that you did it before the top 10 reveal, so actually I won't, but subscribe to the channel anyway. Now let's get into the top 10, the first of which is Samus. This character's so bullshit. Samus is so broken. There are Samus players everywhere. Every region has a good Samus player, multiple good Samus players. She's just nuts. She's just so good. She has a couple of really bad matchups, right? Falco, Min Min, Game & Watch, Steve, there was one more that I forget, Olimar, which is super difficult. But if you're not one of those 5 characters, you actually just lose. Or like Samus has 5 -2s, and like 1 -1, which is Aegis, and then everything else is even or winning. She's so insanely good. Her game plan is so insanely strong. Not only is her general game plan strong, but then she has an obvious win condition because she has the best ledge trapping in the game. She's so dumb. She has such good zoning. She does too much damage. She kills too easily. She has an up B out of shield, which is like so hard to deal with. She just is so good. Like, her flaw is disadvantage and punishing bomb, But like, you have instant mobility changes, so it's so hard to do that unless you have a giant aerial, which granted, some characters have giant aerials, but like, I'm tired of pretending she's not. I'm tired of pretending that she's like only top 20. This character is so stupid. And it's not even like, I've been doing better versus Samus recently, in my opinion. I have a good game plan. I'm chilling versus character. And for reference, Samus and Dark Samus, same spot. They're the same character. So stupid. Bayo beats Samus? Oh, that's true. That is true. Or is it Bloom being really good? I don't know. It's hard to tell. Oh yeah, and Duck Hunt. Lose to Duck Hunt too. But like half of those are not meta picks. Like the only two meta characters that Samus loses to are like Steve and Game & Watch, which like that's bad. But like, it's still winnable. It's just like, hopefully that you're more patient than those players, which sucks. Snake beats Samus? Hell no. Samus absolutely is at least even, but I think Samus wins. Probably the character with the highest rise. This is Corrin. This character forces you to air dodge and then punishes you for air dodging. This character kills you at 50. This character kills you at 70. This character kills you at 90. Corrin's up air is probably the second best up air in the game behind Game & Watch's. Her bad recovery is only bad in very, very specific matchups. I think all of her bad matchups are fake or are being figured out because Shattuck figures them out. Like, Game & Watch Corrin is so bad, and then he beats Meister and Mia, and Game & Watch Samus is so bad, and then he beats Yoda and, like, Icy Mist, which is someone that he struggled with. Like, yeah, maybe lost a teaser, but, like, he was in AP classes and finals, whatever. I'm just thinking about it, like, I was looking at all these characters, and I was like, the only character that maybe is better than Corrin is Cloud. But Cloud has more flaws, and, like, the thing that blows my mind, Corrin's dash shield is so fast. Dash shield is so fast, which means she basically has free approaches against most of the cast. So that means you get to dash shield, add a shield down air, or add a shield footstool down air, or dash shield nair, or dash shield roll through, dash shield rolled away. Like, there's so many free approaches with this character relative to a lot of characters in the cast. And like, the Corrins beat the Snake players, that's a really bad matchup. Like, I know Neo has beat a couple of top Snakes. I think Neo beat AK, Shattuck beat MBD. Like, I think the only person that like Shattuck hasn't beat that he's played multiple times at this point is like, he played Spargo twice and lost twice, and then has lost to Tweak. But like, Tweak and Spargo are both really good. Has like the best two-framing option in the entire game with pin, because it's also not committal at all, because you simply pin and then dash backwards or kick backwards, so you're never going to be out of position for it. You have forward smash, you have not shield breaks, you have like shield poke setups, you have, again, one of the best advantages in the game. Back air is so strong, it auto spaces for you. Like, this character does so much damage, the damage output's crazy with the combos, the single hits are insane. Like, this character has everything. This character has everything. And I didn't realize how good the dash shield was until I'm watching Shattuck move. Like, the fact that he can go, like, his dash shield and, like, dash, turnaround, dash things are so fast because of the way the dash shield works with Corrin. It's insane. You have Shattuck, you have Neo, you have, Spargo plays this character too. This character's just advantage state is so strong. It's like, it doesn't matter how bad the matchup is when you can get the hit and deal 70, and you're fine. The recovery's not the greatest. There are maybe 4 characters that can edgeguard Corrin. Pika, Bayo, Meta Knight, I don't know who else. Like obviously Shattuck is incredible, and I'm not trying to downplay his results by like, oh my god, you're so good, because like, I like when top players playing top tiers make sense. But just like, so few flaws. Insane. And like, the empty jumps of this character are so good as well, and like, you have to be scared of like so much stuff. Number 8, we're sticking with Stride right now. We got Peach. I think Peach is definitely top 10. Her ability to reposition in neutral is insane. She has crazy mix-ups. Her damage output's crazy. She has a couple of like not as super good matchups as some other people. She just kills people. She actually just kills people. And the Peaches are getting so consistent with their combos. It's insane. Float is the best single thing on any character in this game. Float is better than Monado. The frame rate of this character is crazy. The defense of this character is crazy. The offense of this character is crazy. Peach has a couple of matchups that are a little rough, but that doesn't matter because you can just zero to death people. Like, oh no, you like footstool turn up out of shield is insane. You can do footstool, float, fast fall, down tilt. You can do footstool turn up, down toss into down tilt to catch the turn up. Or if you already have the character at higher percent, you just do footstool into down toss into like jump, Z catch, continue the combo. Like, it's so dumb. Like, her options are like limitless. The only reason that this character isn't winning every single tournament is because Mutace has like sometimes bad hand days and bad body days because he's chronically ill. That's literally it. Like, this character is absurd. Not better than Steve Block. Float is better than Block because Block's a move. She can kill people off of footstool. Yeah, I died to footstool multiple times. against Umeki, and I play like Pika. Like I was getting turnip trained with Pika. Like literally there was one time he footstooled me out of shield, down tossed, and then did the turnip trains because I was at like 60 and I just died, and I was like, she's so unique. She's so hard to play, but like, God, is she broken. She's so broken. She's so stupid. Next up, a character significantly easier. We have Aegis. This character's advantage state is too consistent. Even though Aegis is exploitable off stage, it's less exploitable off stage than a lot of people think. Like more than people do sometimes, but less than people like I would say. And her neutral's just too good. If she just doesn't aggress for no reason, like what do you do? Like she has such good mobility. She has such good combos. She has such good like everything except for her recovery. But then her strengths are so strong. Like her strengths are stronger than any character strengths except maybe Game & Watch's. There's like a couple of losing matchups, but they're all fake losing matchups because you can simply hit your opponent and just up air them over and 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 over again. And then Pyra's like way better than I used to think because auto cancels are insane with this character. So the character just kills. It's really hard to advantage Pyra normally because Pyra's Nair is so good, so she's always going to get her resources back, which means she can always recover. Side B is actually surprisingly annoying to deal with and disadvantage specifically off stage as well. Character's too much damage and kills too easily. And like even Mythra can kill if you just like hit the down smashes on neutral getup. Like she has some ridiculous ledge trapping as well because you never want to jump. You don't want to ledge jump versus Aegis because she has some of the best juggling game again, she has the second best juggle game in the game under Game & Watch, in my opinion. So you don't want to ledge jump versus her. And then if you do anything else, she just reacts and hits you for it. Like down tilt into like reverse side B or down tilt up smash or down smash or up smash raw. Super great with punishing with dash attack. So like she's the ultimate defensive character because you're just faster than everyone with Mythra. I think she loses to like Pika. Min maybe. I don't know. I don't know who else. Next up, right outside of top 5, we have Fox McCloud. Fox is insane, does so much damage, and again, kind of like exploitable recovery, but it's fake exploitable because it goes too far. There's very specific characters that can exploit the recovery, like Pika, like Game & Watch. A couple more, but like those are the two main ones. But like overall, this recovery is like totally fine unless you like already burned a double jump and got hit off stage and you can't side B because they have a spike. It's a lot of things that have to appear in order to like be a bad recovery. But this character is the best offensive character in the game by far because he's the best rushdown because he's so fast, has the best jump in the game, which means he has the best short hop pressure in the game that's like basically unreactable. He has the best empty jump in the game. Even though those throws don't really do that much in terms of a combo, they get you off stage where he has the second best ledge trapping in the game behind Samus, in my opinion. Because also, like, you know, Steve is up there with ledge trapping, but also his ledge trapping is very much like setup based, not just like my body is there. Steve isn't as good at that. So yeah, I think Fox is just absurd. He has so many like win cons. They're just like dash attack on platform. His forward air does so much damage. His combos just do so much damage in general. Like, why does his forward air do that? I remember when I made my forward air tier list and I put Fox's super high, so many people were like, you're insane, Fox's forward air isn't that good. And then like immediately Light and Kaninabe were like, what if we just use forward air all the time and show how broken it is? Move's absurd. And then like fair drag downs, like doing like up tilt into full hop, fair drag down into tech chase, which can just be up tilt into fair drag down. What? So dumb. Like he has a couple of losing matchups like Luigi and Ryu. I think everything else is fine. I think literally everything else is like super playable. And even then, the Fox players beat the Luigi players sometimes, and they beat the Shoto players sometimes. Ices, I think Ices is even. I think every Fox player just doesn't know the matchup. I think Pika's bad, but there's two of us, so it doesn't matter. And realistically, I don't know how good Shiny Mark is at the matchup, because Shiny Mark specifically isn't super good against Rushdown. It does really well versus Sonic, in my opinion. Can beat Game & Watch, even though Game & Watch probably wins slightly. You know, can beat Steve, even though Steve probably wins slightly. Does well versus a lot of the meta characters. And it's just like so explosive that it doesn't matter. And now we're getting to the top 5. And for the first time ever, I don't have Pika in top 4. But he's broken. Again, if you're gonna go back to the Sheik argument and say, well, Isam, you say so many bad things about Sheik, but like Pika's that. Shut up. Legitimately, I think the reason that Pikachu is so much better than Sheik is simply because of T-Jolt. I think T-Jolt is broken. And I think Quick Attack with Punishing is broken. And we have like up air bridges and stuff. He's very difficult. But I think T-Jolt is like one of the best moves in the game, and so getting free approaches or free conditioning at the very least, with as well as like a really good camp game, is insanely good. He has such solid matchups that even if you're like a pessimist about matchups and you're like, oh, he loses to Steve and Game & Watch and Samus and Pac-Man and Luigi and Yoshi, it's like, okay, so he loses like 6 matchups. But like most of them are fine. You can edge guard basically every character in the game. You can tempo a lot of characters in the game. You can time out if you really want to with Pikachu. And like Shiny Mark does that, so it's not even like a theory thing of like, oh, just like run away with Zero Suit. Like Shiny Mark does that. His combos are crazy. He gets so much off of like every single hit. He's a little bit not great at mid percents, but at the same time, mid percents are typically when you get things like fair drag downs, like fair drag downs into tech chases or fair drag downs into like grab up air bridges or down throw upper thunder. So he has plenty of things at like all percents. We just suck. Like we just mess up. And at the same time, I still think Shiny Mark's like a top 10 player. He just had an off week at Comic Palooza, but I still think Shiny Mark's like a super broken player that I don't know how many players he's going to lose to, offline especially. Loses to Pac-Man. I hate that matchup, but every other Pika says it's not that bad. Whatever. Like, I might be Doomer. I think the matchup sucks. But yeah, Pikachu's insane. I understand if you don't think he's this good, because it's like, yeah, well, he just loses to like people just doing random stuff. But I just think he's so good and has so many good meta options, like beats Corrin, beats Aegis, beats Fox, beats Sonic. I think is super valuable. You know, in my opinion, beats Steve. You know, the one random bad matchup he has is like Lucario all the way down here. I hate that matchup personally. But like just so many like random, like, oh, this character has good matchups in top tier. It's almost never Pika. And in top 4, honestly, this is the typical top 4, in my opinion, for a lot of people. Number 4 is R.O.B. Whoops. Number 4 is R.O.B. Character's neutral is too good. He has so many zero deaths, and I feel like the R.O.Bs are getting better with the technical play. Down tilt's the best ground normal in the game. In my opinion, R.O.B. down tilt is better than electric. His losing matchups are basically all fake except for like 3 or 4 of them. But even then, again, it's a losing matchup. But then you just get a 0 to death, or get an edge guard, or just get like down tilt fair, tech chase into like tech chase, back throw, edge guard, edge trap. His edge trapping is super good. He has one of the best spikes in the game. His edge guarding is just crazy in general. He has a reflecting projectile. He has 2 projectiles. His advantage is really good. His disadvantage is really good. Because like you just have fuel, so like characters that need to hit you off stage, he doesn't. And if you're a juggling character, cool, but like he can still guess your time, or like make you guess your timings. I would say the biggest flaw is losing the Game & Watch, honestly. But yeah, I think this character's nuts, and like he has the tools to beat every character. These next 2 are basically tied. It just depends on what you value, but I'm going to go over it in my personal opinion, which is Sonic is number 3, and then this is the remaining order, because I think this makes sense. Sonic is really hard to hit. Sonic's camping game is so good. His advantage is so good. He's one of the best edge guarders in the game. He does so much damage. He has so many kill options. I still think that people aren't 100% paying enough attention to a couple of the areas where Sonic is bad, and that can make a big deal sometimes. But then the Sonic players can just change something different. Like, he has so many options that he can just mix up that it's fine. He doesn't really have good out-of-shield options. I mean, he has like footstool spring, or like footstool down air, I guess. I don't know if footstool down air works, does it? I actually don't know the frame data of down air. It's probably fast enough. Yeah, it's fast enough. So you got footstool down air out of shield, so that's something. His grabs are so good. Again, like every position just feels hard. He has a couple of losing matchups, like Samus and Pika and Fox and maybe Corrin, question mark. I think Sonic versus Steve in Game & Watch is both even. I just think it's like they're very swingy on like who gets the first stock. Like the characters all kind of loop around each other. Like I think all these matchups are even against each other, which is honestly really cool. Yeah, I think Sonic is obviously insane. Sonic's as a player is really good. Wrath is getting really good. Ken is really good. I know Pelly is like pretty good in Europe. He's doing really well in Europe right now. Yeah, he's nuts. So Sonic's number 3, Game & Watch number 2. Game & Watch has the best advantage state in the game by far. In my opinion, he has the best out of shield option in the game in terms of up B. He has one of the best nairs, if not the best nair in the game. He has the best juggling in the game. He has honestly, probably top 2 edge trapping over Fox because of Chef. Chef just like wins matchups by itself. Bucket wins matchups by itself. Up air wins matchups by itself. He has ridiculous killing because he can either down smash, forward smash you. If he gets a down smash ever, you're dead. Forward air kills super early. Forward tilt kills super early. Down tilt kills super early. He edge guards you. He just like rinse and repeats you for 1,000,000,000% all the time. And then you can't really advantage state him because you can just go to the ledge. And then he has an unreactable ledge jump. And you can't pressure the ledge ever against him because he has drop off uppy and drop off nair. So like, like certain characters can pressure the ledge, but like it's so hard, and like catching his jump is so unrealistic because you have to deal with up B, forward air, down air, and like air dodge all at the same time, which is like unrealistic for a lot of characters to do. And if you're doing that, you're probably beating the player, not the character. And like Game & Watch actually hits you once and kills you. The amount of time, like, again, he doesn't like classically zero to death you with like Kazuya, like I'm gonna hit you once and literally kill you in a true combo, but he hits you at 0 with a grab, and he goes grab, down throw, nair, nair, up air, up air, up air, up air. You air dodge that up air, up throw, up B. You're ledge trapping, chef. Oh, you rolled, back throw, chef, forward tilt, dead. That happens to every player in the world. Every single player in the world gets hit by that. Game & Watch loses a couple matchups, sure, but they're really niche matchups like Rosa and Meta Knight, which aren't played, so it doesn't matter that he loses to those two. And his advantage state is just too strong. Like Aegis, maybe, Cloud, maybe. Not an issue for Shulk. It is an issue for Shulk because you shield art and you still get up aired 3 times and then you're out of shield art. Like this character just puts you in so many positions where you don't actually have an option and the Game & Watch just has to like react correctly, and that's insane. What a dumb character. And like, you can't even scream Pika bias because most people have at worst this. So if you're complaining about a 1 character difference, go fuck yourself. You're being a nerd. And then of course the number 1 character is Steve. He forces neutral interactions. He does 1 billion damage. Like the best player in the world plays this character and he doesn't come close to doing optimal combos. He's not even remotely close to doing optimal combos. This character is a zero to death machine, like an actual zero to death machine. He has some of the best edge guarding in the game. He has some of the most unique edge guarding in the game. Blocks are a pain in the ass to deal with for the majority of characters. Up tilt is the 2nd best ground normal in the game behind R.O.B down tilt. Maybe better than electric, probably better than electric. His ledge trapping is insane because he can put blocks places and make it really difficult. He has some absurdly broken setups, like mind block cancel down tilt is really, really good. Like, and then he can just, like, the thing is, he has so much cheese and so many silly things, and like Anvil's crazy and Minecart's crazy, and like all these things you have to worry about constantly. And then the players can actually just skill diff you. Like the players can just play like jab and up tilt and like like back air forward and like very normal sword stuff, like very normal, like I'm playing a swordie that's not that mobile, but oh, you have to approach because if you don't, then I'm just gonna mine. So he's basically forcing you to interact with him, and the interactions are almost always in his favor, unless you have a broken projectile that wraps around blocks like T-Jolt. He does so much damage. Diamond is egregiously strong. Nil's ridiculous. He has one of the best disadvantage states in the game because he can block everywhere. And he has, again, if it's not banned, you have PMLG, which lets you get out of hit stun for certain combos. He has Futsul Anvil out of shield, which is really strong for killing. He has just like, sometimes against characters, like you just hit them off stage and then you anvil their 2-frame and you just die. He does technically have losing matchups, right? Like Zero Suit's really hard. That's probably the worst one in my opinion. Cloud, in my opinion, is pretty hard. But like, everyone has matchups that are hard. Like everyone has matchups that are losing. So I think losing to a character or two, especially one as uncommon as Zero Suit, doesn't matter. It simply doesn't matter. Like this character just has so much, and like it sucks. Like I wish, because again, I want Steve banned or PMLG banned. So like regardless of what, but like if Steve was here, he'd be the coolest character in the game. He would be the coolest character in the game by far, because he has so much tech that is so interesting, and he has so many combo routes that are so interesting, and then you just don't need it. You just don't need it. But Steve, like a cool Steve is so cool. Like people being like, oh my god, like sword back air, TBC and or PBR into forward air is so nuts. The fact that he gets to turn around is so cool. The fact that he has so many like interesting combos and like some of the conversions that you see these Steve players get sometimes, especially like Rockman or Failbot, are so cool. And then it's on a character that doesn't need it. I think everyone knows Steve is the best character at this point. But yeah, this is my tier list. I think this is probably the most solid tier list I've done. I think a couple of placements will be suspect for a lot of people, mostly Sheik and Pit and Sephiroth. I think those are the 3 that people are gonna get mad at, which I'm probably right about that. I'm curious as to y'all's opinion right now before I go. Basically, everyone in top 20, you can argue somewhere in top 10.